Welcome into the Michigan Football Report live here. It is 5 o'clock somewhere. And hell, that 5 o'clock is probably where you are on the East Coast. It's 4 o'clock where I'm at in Dallas, Texas. But we are rocking and rolling, folks. The Michigan Football Report. I am your host, James Yoder. We've got my producer extraordinaire, Jack Lotteray, a.k.a. Young Harbaugh. We were at the national championship game last week, did a live show from Marriott Conference Room, right? Audio Ave, and now we are back here Wednesday on the 18th of January. Folks, we're going to talk some Michigan football. We're going to dive into the Matt Weiss stuff, right? Look, I'm not going to try and speculate on what the situation is there any further. I think when police raid your house and there's unmarked cop cars and you're put on leave from your jobs, we'll see how it kind of shakes out. But I don't think that anyone should feel bad for, projecting what it could be. I had this kind of takeaway, Jack. I said the other day, if someone under 40 dies, I could probably say it was murder, a car accident, suicide, or some sort of other accident, and I'd probably be 90% right, on somebody under 40 years old, unless they have some sort of disease that we know about. And I think that's the case with something like the police raiding your house for computer crimes. It's one of like 3 or 4 things, and it might be the non-bad one of the 4 things, which is maybe he accessed someone's email address or made some changes, but a lot of speculation of what people who have been charged with things like this in the past could have been. Don't even want to think about what that stuff potentially could be, because it's really, really bad stuff. Folks, we are diving into the latest Michigan football news and rumors. We've got the Jim Harbaugh stuff. Then we're going to talk about the 2023 depth chart on offense. So who wants a shout out to get today's show started? And it's a slow start. There's not a ton going on in Michigan football. So I'm not sure what our audience will be today. Maybe 100 so people live. Already got about 80 so logging into the show. So anybody wants a shout out, type me. We got one here from A-Train. He says just go blue. A-Train 132. Nick Palm with a go blue as well. Melvin Scottborough with a go blue. Say again, Jack. What do you say? He said, I think Matt Weiss paid for that burger online. Not a bad idea, potentially. He paid for it online, went to go pick it up in store, pick it up in restaurants. Boom, computer crimes, buying things for recruits via, it's kind of funny. If you, if you do something wrong with your bank, you be charged for like interstate wire fraud, right? Like even if it's just something random. So not potentially something to ignore right there. So let me get some shout-outs for the me's. Got Michigan football for me. Melvin Scopper as well. It says me and Matthew. Mike Layton. Mike is a helmet sticker extraordinaire. I'll have to find you on here, Mike. We've got a bunch of helmet stickers. Mike is a helmet sticker extraordinaire. So thanks to Mike. Jonathan Blackman, he that's hidden by YouTube, but I saw what you said there, Jonathan. I don't know. Rich T with a me, and then Jonathan Blackman again with a double me, and we'll keep it rolling. I like this comment from Patrick Ofiara. It says, this team needs to stay humble and hungry. Look, my takeaway going into the college football playoff is I think there was just too much distraction looking back. I think Michigan, like Jack and I, we'd already booked our flights, booked our tickets, booked our hotels, everything for the national championship game. I think the Michigan football program may have fallen into some of that as well. Jim Harbaugh maybe looking for another job, hiring an agent, Matt Weiss doing computer crimes the week before the game. I don't know what happened there, but nevertheless, Michigan does need to stay focused because they should be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in all of college football. Best chance to win a national championship really in the last 25 years since the 1997 season. Got a Megan Block with a 10x me, so appreciate it there. Mark Schenk, any chance the program gets probation? Program, no. Individuals, yes. And we're going to talk about that in our second segment. We're going to dive into the Matt Weiss stuff here in just a few moments, about 5 after the hour now, about 4 or 5 minutes from now. We'll dive into the Matt Weiss stuff for 10, 15 minutes. And then I'm going to talk about the struggle inside the athletic department. Warde Manuel, Jim Harbaugh, what's going on there? Santa Ono has to step in. Also, we've got some news on Donovan Edwards. Injury news with Donovan Edwards. That's actually a little surprising. And then talk about a position switch that you may want to just keep your eyes on out there as we head into spring football. A little while ago, Michigan football forward Taylor Upshaw was transferred to Colorado. That is a fact. He's one of Deion Sanders' big gets in the transfer portal. All right, guys. Michigan's won back-to-back years against Ohio State. So if you are a rider, if you're part of the MFers, if you have been with us since day one, we coined this term, BOSA, beat Ohio State again. Make sure you slam it in the comments. Jordan Martin says Yoder for athletic director. I think it's a potentially good suggestion. I had said maybe I could be the general manager of Michigan football, athletic director. I have to dabble in sports I don't really care about, like, I don't know, volleyball or tennis, but I potentially could be the athletic director at Michigan. Warde needs to get with the program from N. Matthew. Some boasts coming in from Megan Block, Ethan St. Pierre, N. Matthew, Mark Schenk, Michigan Football 4 again, Jack Scioli, Mike Layton. Rob Smith says Upshaw did nothing, lost his job. Okay, cool. John Schroeder says Bosa. JT says Bosa, haha, WW Bosa. I'm not sure what that means, like WWW. Joe Walsh, PBMC, Bill Graves, JT again with the Bosa. Will the MSU players who attack G-Mon Green ever go to jail? No, they have all basically plead out to community service and probation, so no jail time for any of those guys. Brano 2 times says Bosa. Greg Malone. Jeff Rua, one of the day ones. Appreciate you, Jeff. Bosa, Jerry again, Roger Pack, and Rob Smith. Let's start asking questions, man. Ask you guys questions for about 3.5 more minutes here. It's 4:07 Central, 5:07 Eastern until we get to the 10 after the hour. Let some people join in the program. Who's your favorite Michigan football player of all time? Mine is Charles Woodson. Let me say this. Donovan Edwards is getting close there, and there's 2 reasons. One, I was just mesmerized by those two runs against Ohio State, and that 1 touchdown run against Purdue, where they just like Mike Allstott down the middle of the field for 20-plus yards for those 3 touchdowns. Absolutely mesmerizing. But I played those highlights so many times in the Joel Klatt, the Gus Johnson calls from the Ohio State game at my house, on my phone, on my big screen over the next 2 or 3 weeks. My son, who's 6, who's not that into sports yet, he's a huge Donovan Edwards fan now, too, because he just likes the name The Don. So in honor of him, in honor of you, in honor of my saying it all the time, we have put these shirts out together. Jack, why don't you toss those bad boys up on the screen? Sold 100 of them, guys, and now we have put another 50. Let's launch another 50. So I've got the Don shirt. I'm not going to lie. It's a really high-quality shirt. It's not anything cheap by any means. It's cotton, polyester, whatever. It is a little tight. Don't you think, Jack? It's just a tad tight. This is a medium. I normally wear medium shirts. It's a smidge tight, so if you're on the borderline between small, medium, large, XL, you may want to just opt for the bigger one. But we're launching 50 more of these shirts. First 100 have come and gone. Go to chatsports.com/Don7. Jack, if you can, look like you're going to do that. Toss that link in the live chat. So I've got the Don shirt, and they don't make kids shirts that I saw from our Teespring, our T-shirt partner, because my son, he saw that I had one last week, and he's like, I want a Don shirt. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, Daddy, is Donovan Edwards, is he the best player in all of college football? He says, is he the best football player in the whole entire world? I'm like, college football. You never know. But next year, he could be. So Donovan Edwards with a season next year as still the backup running back, I guess, like he had over the last 3 games, the Penn State game and others. He has a chance to have a Reggie Bush-type season this upcoming year for Michigan. He could supplant Charles Woodson as my number 1 ever. Jerry Squirrelly says Harbaugh is mine. Roger Pack with the Harbaugh. Hassan Haskins, Megan Block. I think Hassan's up there in my top 5 or 6, absolutely. Anthony Thomas, the A-Train from A-Train 132. He's repping his favorite player with that name. My collar is a little crooked here. Brado 2 times says Blake Corum. Rob Smith says Woodson. Charles Woodson, the very popular. Someone says more like William H. says shoelace, Denard Robinson, and then John Schroer says more like shoeless. All right. Mike Sanderson is becoming one of my favorites. Definitely a program guy. Definitely kind of like the Hassan Haskins of this year's team, next year's team. Like the entire team kind of seems to just feed off of that guy's energy. That's Mike Sanderson this year, coming back for another year next year. Ethan St. Pierre says Moody. Taylor Rowan from Caleb. Arnon, and then Crazy Asian 99 says Jabril Peppers, Rich T, Anthony Carter back in the late 70s, early 80s, 3-time All-American A-Train, Mike Hart from Mike K, also Brandon Graham, Chris Perry, 2003 Doak Walker Award winner, says Mark Schenk, and then Greg Malone, I'll finish off there, says Tyrone Wheatley, 1992 Rose Bowl MVP, 93, 94 at Michigan as an All-American level running back. All right, guys, we're sitting at 25,592 subscribers here in the Michigan Football Report. If you have yet to do so, hit that subscribe button here on the show. Let's get to 26,000. Big milestone. We hit 25,000, but every 1,000 just is another thing to hit because you never know when you're going to hit that inflection point where, hey, all the people who are watching content on YouTube for Michigan, we've got them all, but that certainly is not the case. So if you have yet to, please hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/Michigan TV. It's in the live chat. Send it to a friend. Send it to your group chat, whatever it is. All right, guys. If you want to get on the show, I've been getting shout-outs here the first 10, now 11 minutes of the show. If you want to get on the show, your question, your name, your photo of your YouTube account on the show, use hashtag Michigan with the quote. What that does, it puts it to the top of producer Jack's queue. When he sees that, Jack can then put you on the show and show me your question. I can read them through the live chat here, but if you want them on screen, you got to use hashtag Michigan. And if you want to join the Hard Hat Club, right, we have 3 more shows. We're going to do a show next Wednesday, the 25th, and then February 1st. We're going to do 3 more live shows, and we'll do more live shows throughout the year, a bunch during spring football, probably a couple during the summer, but it won't be an every week thing like it has been the last 2 months. If you want to be on the Hard Hat Club, I'm going to take every one of these names at some point. We're going to kind of like put them as show credits once a week, but it's a $10 super chat. We'll take your question on the show. We'll give you attribution, and then you will get a sticker on the helmet. I want to give some shout outs from the last 2 helmets. We just filled up 2 more helmets here. I want to pull these up. I have the right one. Give some shout outs. Wolverine, Alaska, and John Blaze. Each of those guys have like 20 plus stickers on here. You see them right there. John Blaze, $770 since we started things rolling mid to late November with the super chat menu. Wolverine, Alaska. And his daughter, Leanne, of course, she donated to $340. Blue Wolverine with $180. Cool Moti, a cool $137. Shane Johnson. Shane, keep an eye out for the Don shirt that's coming your way, my man. Rick Harford, Cody Mumford, Dan Farrer, John Crandall, and some guy that wraps out our top 10 super chairs. I give a couple more shots here. My guy, some guy, Mr. TBD123. I think we mentioned John Crandall. We mentioned, of course, Wolverine, Alaska. Eastside Zach, back he did one when we were out in LA. I think he did one back in December as well. John Blaze Galore, Brad Butkerite, Cruiser for Show, Cole Vistalo. Who's some names I haven't called that. A lot of duplicates on here. Eastside Zach again, that's what I'm at. Jacksonville Zoe, Cody Mumford again, John Blaze, Wolverine, Alaska. Mark Churian as well on December 21st. Iceman Comp 25. Clayton Amboy, a couple times in there. Travis Mitchell, one of the old schoolers, one of the first guys ever to consume any content we did on Michigan football a number of years ago. So $10 super chat gets you in the helmet. I'm going to send one of those helmets filled up with dollar bills, send it to the number 1 guy on that menu that we just showed, plus a Blake Corum signed ball, Michigan football jersey. I think we're going to do the same thing for number 2, although it'll probably just like a jersey and maybe the Don shirt. So you will be part of Michigan Football Report lore. Coming up on today's show, folks, we are going to talk the Matt Weiss criminal probe. What happened last night? I put out a YouTube short. I speculated a little bit. I don't regret that. When you have a guy let go from, on leave from a job at a university investigating him, multiple cop cars for hours at his house the week prior, neighbors saying there's unmarked police cars. You can only think the worst, hoping it's not the worst, and it seems like it won't be just the worst stuff you can actually imagine when it comes to those things. Mark Schenk, actually, who's my favorite NFL team? I don't really have one. I guess at this point, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Professionally, we're in Dallas, and the Cowboys is one of our biggest shows here on YouTube. Some room for the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl, but kind of the Browns, although they just stunk for so many years, I couldn't get hip with them for too long. So that is the show coming up. Stick with us. We got about an hour of live programming, maybe a little bit more. All coming up from the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Let's get it rolling with the Matt Weiss criminal probe news right now. I am your host, James Yoder. You're watching the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. We are going to talk some major Michigan football news that dropped overnight. Kind of dropped last night. What time was that, Jack? About 8:30 Eastern. The news dropped. ESPN forced to report it. Detroit Free Press, Detroit News, and others. Had some behind-the-scenes scoop. Kind of did some record dive, and we're going to give you an opinion. There hasn't been a ton of new things, at least up to us going live. If something breaks live, make sure you guys tell us in the live chat. We're not necessarily keeping track of the news while it is going on. But before we dive into the Matt Weiss stuff, given that Michigan's going for a 3rd straight Big Ten title next year, let's take the pulse of the fan base, the pulse of the crowd, pulse of you, the viewer. Which is the better Michigan football team? They both have the same outcome, beat Ohio State, okay? Won the Big Ten championship game. Now, last year's team, 2021, 2 years ago, I guess now, they crushed Iowa 42-3, while Michigan kind of let Purdue hang around. More competitive this year in the CFP, but still lost. Undefeated this year in 2022, lost to Michigan State last year. But let me know which is the better Michigan football team, 2021 or 2022? If anybody gets in the live chat in the next 10 seconds, I'll give a couple shout-outs. 2022 from Melvin, better all-around team. You might look back, though, guys, and say 2021 had more talent, right? Ojabo, Hudson, Dax Hill, Hassan Haskins, all those guys, Andrew Stuber, weren't on that team, but then J.J. McCarthy emerged, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards became kind of superstars, and we saw what we got out of Colston, Loveland down the stretch, and I think ultimately the undefeated season puts them over the top. It is 2022. Let's talk about the criminal investigation bombshell that hit on Tuesday night. Michigan Police, the University of Michigan Police, is investigating Matt Weiss for a report of computer access crimes, which is a very, very vague thing to put out there. And I will admit to you, when it came out, computer access crime, put on leave, undercover cops at his house for hours, days prior, my mind, like tons of people out there, went to the worst. Just like if a young person passed away, you ultimately think the worst. It's like murder or drugs or suicide or a car accident, unless they have some sort of disease that you know about. And I thought that computer access crimes, oh boy, that sounds like as bad as the stuff you can get. Hopefully is not. And I think as time has gone on, late night into last night into today, it clearly seems that it is not something that's going to put him in jail for a long time, if at all, I don't think. But we still don't really know what all the details are. So here's what we got going on. Police investigating Matt Weiss, been with Michigan for 2 years, was with the Baltimore Ravens for 12 years prior to that. Computer access crimes. Now, it happened at Schembechler Hall before the bowl game. So December 21st through the 23rd is according to the statement by the police. They searched his house on January 10th. So last Tuesday, unmarked police vehicles were apparently in his driveway for hours, according to his neighbor. So that is what we know. And then let's take a look at what this actually means. What law could he have broken per the police statement? So fraudulent access to computers, computer systems, and computer networks. This is from the Michigan Legislature Act 53 of 1979. They had computers 43 years ago, but I guess they did at least some sort of computers. Intentionally or without authorizing, by exceeding valid authorization, do any of the following. Basically, access or cause access to be made to a computer program, yada, 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 damage, delete, or destroy property. So he could have deleted files, he could have accessed files that weren't his, or knowingly attach or create unknowing or unwanted attachment of instructions, or basically what that last part is, a virus. So you're either accessing something, deleting something, changing something, or you're kind of attaching some sort of malware or virus to it. It doesn't sound like it's any downloading things. It doesn't sound like it's any cryptocurrency scam, which I think there was a lot of speculation it could be yesterday. So now Weiss is on leave from the program. Now, it's kind of funny because over the weekend, and into Monday and then early Tuesday, there had been credible reports. It's like, hey, Michigan offers this guy a scholarship. Michigan visits this guy. Well, that's a quarterback, or that's an offensive player. It's in California. It's on the West Coast. Those are Matt Weiss's responsibilities. Why is Sharon Moore going out and offering a Keely Smith's son, who kind of like, wow, Keely Smith is a son who's already a Michigan recruit. I guess he was at Oregon, 25, 26 years ago himself, 24 years ago. But Sharon Moore. So I actually thought, and had this news not broken last night, I may have speculated in the show. It's like, why isn't Matt Weiss recruiting? Could he, like we told you 3 weeks ago, potentially be pursuing NFL jobs, either QB coach or offensive coordinator? He spent basically his entire career in the NFL prior to that. Now, then I thought to myself, well, if this happened in December, did he actually go to the game? Was he at the Fiesta Bowl? Well, he spoke to media on December 27th, and then confirmed myself through game tape, and then just come out from there. Of course, he was at the game, but my first thing I went to was like, well, we don't always see assistant coaches on the side. I don't really pay attention to that all the time. I'm like, is there a chance he just wasn't at the game? They sent him home or something like that? No, media, he was on the sideline. I don't think Michigan actually knew anything about this because of this photo right here. Now, this is from the University of Michigan internal system, Division of Public Safety and Security. Basically, if anybody in the University of Michigan campus makes a report to the police, the campus police, it will show up on this system. So I'll read you what you see on screen there from that. It's from January 5th at 12:44 p.m. Fraudulent activity from Schembechler Hall, right, where Michigan's football headquarters. Employee reported fraudulent activity involving someone accessing university email accounts without authorization. Okay, so now we have some actual substantive proof. Accessing university email accounts. Don't know what it means necessarily. Upon further investigation, it was found that a crime may have been committed. So someone kind of, it seems, internally ratted him out. So is it, hey, Matt Weiss jumped on my computer when I went unlocked and did something? I think it's going to be intriguing to see kind of how this all shakes out. But it does seem that a Michigan football employee was the one who turned this over to the investigators back on January 5th, which would have been, 13 days ago. So that was 2 Thursdays ago, right? Is that January 5th was a Thursday, because the 4th would, of course, been a Wednesday, if today is the 18th. So that is kind of how this is shaking out. I want you guys to put in the live chat, put down in the comments if you're watching this later on Wednesday, what's your one-word reaction to Matt Weiss's police investigation that dropped late on Tuesday evening, folks? Mine is stun. I have 2-word reaction. It's like, what the F? I'm just going to make it WTF. That is kind of a crazy, shakeout. Annoyed from Mark Shank on the live chat is the first comment I came seeing on that. So give me your one-word reaction to Matt Weiss, Michigan's quarterbacks coach, co-offensive coordinator, got promoted, was actually kind of rumored last year to be prepping Jim Harbaugh for the Vikings interview and would have gone with Harbaugh to be his OC in the NFL. He is under investigation by the police. He is put on administrative leave from the Michigan football program. He put out a quote. I'm sorry, not his quote. This is from Michigan, the University of Michigan Deputy Police Chief Crystal James. The University of Michigan Police Department is investigating the report of computer access crimes that occurred at Schembechler Hall December 21st through the 23rd of 2022. Since this is an ongoing investigation, there is no additional information to share. So that is from Crystal James at the University of Michigan, the Deputy Police Chief. So Matt Weiss, I'll give him credit. He's not hiding from it, and I think a lot of people in this position where you're all of a sudden the focus of the entire college football universe for at least a night. We'll kind of see how the news cycle goes. He did put out a statement last night. I think it was first reported by ESPN. I'm aware of an ongoing investigation by the University of Michigan Police Department and fully cooperating with investigators. I look forward to the matter being resolved. Out of respect for the integrity of the investigation, I will not have further comment. So that is Matt Weiss. Folks, no matter what happened here, this seems bad, because if it was just accessing someone's email account, like, I don't know, you go on, someone leaves a computer, you type in their password somehow because you saw them type it in, and you're just checking their email, that seems like nothing, right? I can't even imagine. I know this is a public university, so it kind of goes into government, but I can't even imagine that's a prosecutable crime. I mean, people are robbing stores all over the country. You're going to look at somebody's email account. So I think something nefarious had to happen here, right? I don't think it's anything like child pornography or cryptocurrency scams. Who's laundering money for the Russian mafia, anything like that was speculated out. I speculated myself. But something happened more than just logging into somebody's email. And I don't know what it is, but I'm really intrigued to see how it comes out. Unless he's completely exonerated, I do think it's likely that Michigan has to sever ties with him because it happened at Schembechler Hall. If this was a personal matter outside of the university, then I think he would have potentially easily came back because of just like, oh, wow, he's accidentally someone emailed out. But if it happens in the workplace, Michigan's hands are kind of tied. I'm not sure they have much of a leg to stand on by returning him. I hope this isn't something terrible, though, and it seems like it isn't, but we'll see kind of how things shake out with Matt Weiss on leave from Michigan, their co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Guys, we got more to talk about here on Matt Weiss. I'll try to throw out a few replacements. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I would be silly not to at least speculate who Michigan could hire as a quarterbacks coach, maybe co-OC, but I think it would just be QB coach if they were to hire someone from the outside or even potentially someone in the program that's not yet a coach. Coach, before, shout out your city. Let me know where you're watching from down in the comments or watching on the Michigan Football Report live chat, recording this Wednesday afternoon. Got a Bosa from Go Blue. We must be watching in Bosa, Michigan, one of the great towns in all of America. All right, keep shouting out your cities in the live chat and down in the comments. But I'm going to speculate a little bit on possible Matt Weiss replacements. So let's take a look at these Matt Weiss replacements. How about this guy, Kirk Campbell? It's a name probably you've heard of. I remember when he got hired. Over the summer. He put out a quote. He was Old Dominion's offensive coordinator. I thought it was kind of a weirdish move, but, offensive analyst from Michigan, interesting. On3, which is a new recruiting site in the last year and a half, they put out like their 50 rising coaches, either guys who are like in group of 5 or analysts that aren't yet coaches that are like the next wave. He was one of them just in the last few weeks. So it kind of got my eyes to perk up. Others have speculated out there on the internet that he is next in line and really has Jim Harbaugh's ear when it comes to passing formations and such from there. How about Willie Taggart? I wouldn't be too excited about this guy, but he has a proven track record of being a head coach. And sometimes head coaches, when they get humbled a little bit, he was fired from USF. He was fired from Florida State. He was at Oregon for 1 year. Western Kentucky prior to that, and he coached with Jim Harbaugh's dad. And actually, Jim Harbaugh recruited him when he was kind of an unpaid staffer at Western Kentucky, back 30 years ago or so, 25 years, 30 years ago. It's potential. Jim Harbaugh, they call him the third Harbaugh brother. He was like officiant or best man in Jim Harbaugh's wedding or groomsman. So it's possible. Willie Taggart just accepted a job as an analyst with Colorado, Deion Sanders. So if he had a position coach job with Michigan, he would definitely leave that. Jimmy Doherty, you may remember him. He was in Michigan a number of years ago. He was kind of like Kirk Campbell is now. He was like, hey, this guy is the next up-and-coming offensive coach. He's an analyst, etc. He was at, Fresno State before he came to Michigan, I think it was. Quarterbacks coach now with Arizona. And, of course, their head coach, who used to be Michigan's offensive coordinator himself. So then how about this last name? Brian Griese. Now, some people say, no way Brian Griese will be Michigan's quarterbacks coach. He's a quarterbacks coach with the 49ers. But Jim Harbaugh is the head coach of the 49ers. He's at Michigan. A lot of times the lure of their alma mater can bring them back. He's done a hell of a job. 3 different quarterbacks this year, folks. Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, and now what's the guy's name now? Brock Purdy, right? He's got them favored in the second round of the NFL playoffs, maybe favored to win the whole thing, or at least win the NFC at this point. National championship quarterback for Michigan now. People say, look, he criticized Harbaugh so bad in 2020. There's no way Harbaugh will bring him back. They probably hate each other. Well, Mike Hart in 2007 said, I wish Jim Harbaugh never played for Michigan football when Harbaugh made disparaging comments about Michigan's academics compared to Stanford. So bygones will be bygones. Harbaugh doesn't seem like he's a guy who holds grudges necessarily. So those are 4 people that I potentially think Jim Harbaugh could go after. It does seem like, from reading the tea leaves out there, Kirk Campbell might be the guy who gets pegged, but Harbaugh has surprised us many a times and gone outside the program for hires that no one was expecting in the past. So those are 4 names that I would speculate on. Guys, if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, it's a Michigan football breaking news, like you see here with the Matt Weiss, put out a YouTube short last night. Rumors and recruiting. We have the latest news, and during the season, folks, we put out a video every single day, plus do live shows on the Michigan Football Report on YouTube, youtube.com/Michigan TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and send the link to a friend of yours who is a Michigan football fan. All right, we just wrapped up the Matt Weiss criminal probe. It sounds so seedy, but that is where we're at. This Michigan football program, nothing is ever normal. Everything is always drama. And it's really been like that the entire time Jim Harbaugh's been there. Hell, Brady Hoke, right? There's drama with Shane Morris, drama this, that. Rich Rod got put on probation and all this stuff. It's always drama with Michigan. It really always is. If you've yet, you guys, follow me on Twitter. I'm going to toss the link. I got it, Jack, there. Yeah, you got it. Okay, cool. I'm going to toss the link here in the live chat. Actually, it looks like I got signed out from the Michigan Football Report account on YouTube, Jack. So I just commented from my own account there. So I'm going to log back in here. But go ahead and follow me on Twitter. We are going to get into the latest news and rumors. I've got some thoughts, speculation, a little bit of inside info on Warde Manuel, Jim Harbaugh, and what may have happened between Santa Ono and Jim Harbaugh that led to Harbaugh agreeing to stay on as Michigan's coach, at least for next year, although there's no contract yet. Do those guys have a handshake deal? Did something go on between them? I'll tell you all about that in a second. Let's see if I can get logged back on here. I think I figured out why. I got 2 different browsers on, Jack. That's why, so I can look at it differently. So, what's that? Internet crimes, maybe. I'm doing computer access crimes right now. I got logged out from my screen over here, and nevertheless, I'm back. I am back, so I can dive into the live chat here on the Michigan Football Report. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter. I am going to follow back the next 5 people who follow me. So I checked who the last followers were before we jumped on the show. So I'll keep looking at it. If anybody follows me right now, I'll go give you a follow back. So if you want to give me a follow, I will follow you back. I'm just going to pull up my phone. A little bit easier than kind of trying to manage it on my computer when I got screens everywhere. Check, I got screens everywhere right now. And that's just kind of how things shake out. So we receiving any new followers? Doesn't look like we've got any followers since we've been on live here in the last. Oh, there we go. Just got a few followers coming in. So I will. Oh, and I got a bunch of commenters. So I'll look back in a minute. It's a little bit easier when I'm not trying to look at it. So follow back the next 5 people. So if you have yet to follow me, hit that follow button on Twitter. It's in the live chat. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. And I'm your host, of course, James Yoder. Follow me on Twitter at James Yoder. Right. We've got a Q&A coming up. We're going to take your audience questions, a mailbag. Right? If you're an MFer or you're a watcher of the Michigan Football Report, get on the show. Use hashtag Michigan or $10 super chat. Get you a helmet sticker. We're going to kind of do a show credits. If you want to be part of the show credits, we'll play it once a week at the end of every show instead of like an end screen. We'll kind of show credits of all the people who have super chat. We have filled up 4 helmets of people who have donated $10 to the show. Help Jack and I go out to the national title game last week. Help pay for studio time, production time here at the show. You'll be on there. You'll be on the show credits at the end of this kind of run up to signing day in February. Use hashtag Michigan or super chat, and you will get on the show. Want to know from you guys, comment in the live chat if you are subscribed to the channel. Jack, why don't we toss on live? Why don't we toss on subscriber-only chat so people could only type yes. Go from there. So type your Y's if you are subscribed to the channel already. And I guess if we're going to put on subscriber-only chat, you won't even have an option. You're going to have to type yes. So type Y for yes if you have subscribed to the channel. I got a Nolan. Denise, yes, sir, from Ethan St. Pierre. Roderick Mack is giving me a yes. Brano 2 times with a yes. Vicente. No, it's Vincent. I'm sorry. I'm blind. Vincent, I'm sorry. I'm blind. Vincent Rennie, Rich T, William Beatty, Kevin Kester, Noof Dog, Otis Nelson Jr., Chris Foster, Greg Malone, Browno 2 times, Ben Sub, my guy, King Davis 7374, Bill Graves, Anthony Chandler Ford, King Davis 7374. Again, I think I just named him. Paul Denstadt. Paul, apologize if I hacked your name. Randy Rickman, CEO Avenger, Vincenzo Ferris says yes from Central Florida. Tim Baker, Nolan Denise, denies Denise, Mark Schenk as well. Denise, he says it's denies like the Key and Peele sketch. I don't know if I know that one. Do you know Denice? D-Nice. Okay, cool. So Jack, producer Jack, Young Harbaugh knows it. It's Nolan. D-Nice. Thank you, Baron. Love your show, man, from Codedex. Thank you. Appreciate that, Codedex. Bayrola and Baron, and then Melvin Scott Borer. Is it Borer or Borer? I'm not sure, but Melvin, thank you as well. Give me a yes. Mark Schenk, yes, sir. And Mike Bork, thank you so much. Keep typing the Y's. I'll give a few shouts here in just a moment. But coming up, guys, I'm going to give you a little bit latest on Jaden Davis. Going to talk about Jim Harbaugh, Warde Manuel, Donovan Edwards, and a position switch that you're going to want to know about. It is all coming up. Let's dive into today's news and rumors. Let's talk about the latest on Jaden Davis. Jim Harbaugh, Jaden Davis, really Michigan's quarterback of the future, and all eggs in one basket at this point. They didn't bring in a high-level recruit in 2022, kind of a couple project guys. Didn't bring in a quarterback in 2023 yet. Maybe that could change. Got 2 weeks till signing day. And Jaden Davis is all the bread in the basket there for him in 2024. Jim Harbaugh, Jaden Davis going to talk Wednesday night. And then, but he's got a lot of suitors out there. He sure does. He's going to visit North Carolina, Mac Brown. They've got maybe the Heisman favorite in Drake May, or one of the Heisman favorites going into next year. They've certainly put out NFL-level quarterbacks under Mac Brown. And then other guys coming to town, right? Ryan Day and their quarterbacks coach, the new offensive coordinator, as well there at Ohio State. They're visiting him this week. Dabo Swinney, they've got his new offensive coordinator, Clemson's coming this week. Dabo himself is heading down to Charlotte to visit Jaden Davis as well. So a lot of competition for. Things are heating up. It doesn't seem like it's like a Michigan and maybe South Carolina, I don't know, Clemson, whoever the battle has been. Georgia, looks like everybody's coming for Jaden Davis. I think he's the highest rated quarterback recruit in 2024 or 2023. So a lot of people pursuing him. All right, guys, we are presented by Manscaped. In just a few moments, I'll tell you about Manscaped's new product line. It is a beard trimmer, and it is outstanding. So make sure you stick with us. Go to manscaped.com, the best male grooming products in the game. Use promo code GOBLUE, 20% off and free shipping. Michigan's 2023 off-season training starts on Monday, so we are going to have all kinds of inside access. Who's looking the part, who's faster than ever, who is putting in the time, showing up at 4 a.m. for the off-season workouts, all those sorts of things. So kind of talking about that in a second. I got a position switch I want to talk about and some injury news for you. So we're going to dive into some news and some rumors, but we're going to start the show with some Jim Harbaugh stuff. Before we do, we're in 2023, right? The season's over. Georgia wins the national title. They were the most dominant national championship or dominant bowl game in college football history. Will Michigan be ranked in the top 2 in the preseason polls? If you guys have seen last week and then this past, I think it was a show on Monday, I dabbled with my top 10, put out last week my top 25 going into next year. I think Georgia's going to be the consensus number 1 because they won the national title. such dominant fashion. If Michigan made it to the national title game and was competitive with Georgia, even if they lost, I think Michigan could have been number one because of what they've got coming back. But as such, Georgia, in the dominant fashion, they won that game. They will be number one. Will Michigan be number two in the preseason polls, or top two, I should say? Give me a Y or an N. The live chat, Chris Nurburg says no. Ethan says yes. Barron says no. They'll probably be number one. Well, that's still top two, Ethan. Sean says no. Henry Moore says no as well. So not a super optimistic crew. Sean Schmidt said yes. I think I might have been to something else, though. So let me know in the live chat and in the comments, will Michigan be a top two ranked team in the 2023 preseason polls? Is Warde Manuel on the hot seat? And that might be a surprising question to someone who doesn't follow it, doesn't really care about some athletic director, administrator who doesn't have a direct impact on what happens with any of the programs. But it's an interesting question to consider, given what Jim Harbaugh, Santa Ono, and the communication from the program that's happened over the past week. So Warde Manuel, Jim Harbaugh. You don't need any inside info, like you see at the bottom of the screen, to connect the dots that they aren't on good terms. You go back to 2020. Jim Harbaugh, they stretched it out 2020 all through COVID, etc. They didn't give him a new contract. He had 2 years left in his contract. Then the disastrous 2020 season happened, 2-4. Now Harbaugh's going into his last year. Michigan, they probably could have fired him, and no one would have blamed him there. But Warde Manuel he said, Jim, we'll keep you. I don't want to keep you as our coach, but we're going to make you take a half pay cut down to $4 million. We're making 8, now you're making 4. We'll put some incentives for you. You can make like 6 or 7. That's what happened. I think it hurt Harbaugh. I think he did it because he didn't have any other options, but I think it was a gut punch for him. Now, here's what Santa Ono, Michigan's new president, right? He's been on the job for just a few months. I think Mark Schlissel, the prior guy, was a complete schmuck, so I'm glad there. He says, he just got the vote, Jim Harbaugh. Jim shared the great news to me that he's going to remain the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. Fantastic news. How about this part, though? This is the part they don't talk about, Jack. I have communicated that to our athletic director, Warde Manuel. If you're in an organization and you're kind of like one of the top guys, and you got a direct boss, and you got like the president or the CEO of the company, whatever it is, if you're going around him and you said, hey, I'm going to stick around, I'm not going to quit, and he tells your boss, how about this statement from Jim Harbaugh? On his future, I love the relationships that I have with Michigan, the coaches, the staff, the families, the administration, the president, Santa Ono, and especially the players and their families. My heart is the University of Michigan. I once heard a wise man say, don't try to out-happy. Go Blue. I don't know who said that, but it's a pretty good quote. I've heard it before as well. Guys, who didn't he talk about there? Who did Jim Harbaugh not mention there? He mentioned Santa Ono by name, but did he mention Warde Manuel, his boss, who's supposed to be negotiating this contract with? He didn't. I think there is a rift there that needs to be considered. We're going to dive more of that in there. Hold on a second. We got some breaking news here. Breaking news. Jack Lottery telling me, boo, 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 boo. Here in the Michigan Football Report, breaking news. Attention to all bearded gentlemen. Manscaped has launched a new beard grooming kit. We'll toss the link there. Manscaped.com. Promo code GOBLUE for 20% off and free shipping in the live chat. Folks, are you tired of multiple products to maintain your beard? Look, I used to have a beard a couple days ago. I trimmed this bad boy up. I went a little close, but I did it with my new Manscaped beard trimmer. The Luxury Beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped, the complete beard maintenance kit, has everything you need for the modern man on the go. From trimming to treatment, this kit has it all. It includes a beard hedger, a AC adapter and USB-C cable to charge it, beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard oil, beard balm, and a travel bag. Plus, as a special bonus, you'll receive a free beard accessory pack with a beard brush, beard comb, and beard scissors. This thing is sick. The beard hedger was designed with a unique cutting angle to have a built-in comb to lift flat-lying hairs for smooth single stroke trimming. And for a limited time, you can get 20% off. It just launched yesterday, folks. 20% off and free shipping on the entire package, or you can just get this bad boy right here. This thing is so awesome. I trimmed my beard on Monday. Look, you see that? You feel that vibration? You feel that? Oh, yeah, this bad boy is sick. And it's got all kinds of accessories here with Manscaped. Promo code GOBLUE, no spaces. Look how nice this packaging is. It's like the Apple of men's products. It's just an amazing package. They have got little instructions there. You got a holder for your beard, Tim. Then you've got this bad boy. Hey, you got a scruffy beard. You got to do one of these. One of these guys who's kind of like got looks like, I don't know, pubes or something. You've seen those kind of guys, Jack. You got to keep it real there. You've got grooming stuff in there. Manscaped is doing it right. Beards they're a thing. I've grown my beard out plenty of times. Hell, I've grown a mustache out before too. We'll show you that how it's coming up here in a second. Get the new Manscaped Beard Hedger Pro Kit. I love it. I use it. Just trim my beard. Manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping using promo code GOBLUE. I could have used it last year, Jack, when I had that mustache. I could have kept that thing in line a little bit. But that's from fall season. I went 64 days without shaving my mustache. That is the picture there. Harbaugh likes to feel the love, okay? If you think back to 2000, there was a book by John Bacon, kind of a squirrely guy, but pretty good author, about what happened, how Michigan ended up hiring Brady Hoke after the 2010 season and not Jim Harbaugh. And one of the quotes that stuck with me a decade plus later is, from Dave Brandon, Michigan athletic director, they talked at some point, but I just wasn't feeling the love. Jim Harbaugh at the time, end of the 2010 season, was the hottest coach in college, hottest coach for NFL jobs. His alma mater came calling, but he wasn't feeling the love from Dave Brandon, who kind of had an ego there. I think Santa Ono, I think he stroked that ego. Jim, you are so valuable. You are the coach I want. I need you here, Jim. I just got on the job. I need you as my coach, Jim. And I think that's what happened in their meeting last Thursday. Now, what I think is kind of shaken out and why it went up to Santa Ono is I think Jim Harbaugh wants more control of this program, right? He wants to win a national title. I think Michigan was right there this year. I think if they had played Georgia, I don't think they would have won. I don't think they would have won given what I saw from Georgia. And I think Michigan's track record in postseason games, right? Jim Harbaugh lost 5 straight. Or is it 6 straight now? But I think that they could have kept it within 10 points, maybe 14, and they would have been like, okay, we're right there. We're just like 2 transfers away. And I don't think he thinks Warde Manuel is the athletic director that can get Michigan there, right? Not pushing the envelope, not getting donors to donate to NIL, not doing whatever he needs. Hell, private jets who could visit more recruits. I don't think he thinks that Warde Manuel is going to bat and doing the things that Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State's ADs do for their head football coach. So I'm going to ask you guys, put it in the live chat, put it down in the comments. We're going to post this on Thursday. Grade Warde Manuel's handling of Jim Harbaugh. Now, they've been together for 6 years now, right? Crazy how long it's been with those two guys. But let's just kind of take the last 2.5 years. Let's kind of just say mid-2020 as Harbaugh's going into his second to last year. A lot of contract extension talk. Michigan kind of got blown up by Ohio State back-to-back years. But, hey, Harbaugh's our guy. Up until the contract slashing half price and then the extension last year, but back-to-back years of looking at NFL jobs for Jim Harbaugh. A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to go like a D plus. I think it's been pretty brutal, although Harbaugh hasn't quit or left the program yet, so maybe I'm grading him too harshly. But let me know what you guys think. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F. Live chat, I got Phil with a D, Ethan with an F, Sean with a D, Carl Cordell, my guy with a D, Bayrola with an F, Roger Pack D, and then Loose Cannon, good grader, easy grader. I wish I had you for a high school calculus class. He gives a B. Breno 2 times going with the C. Noof Dog says D for dog's breakfast. This is what Jim Harbaugh wants. From what I have heard from people who have talked to him, I had a conversation yesterday with someone who talked to Harbaugh's lawyer just this week. Okay, I'm not trying to give away any inside info. I think it's just some things that people pass, and I happen to know someone who knows the guy. Okay, whatever. Appropriate salary. He's the 6th highest paid coach in the Big Ten in 2022. Now, that wasn't like salary, but when things shook out, you beat Ohio State, Big Ten East, Big Ten Championship, College Football Playoff, all that good stuff. Big Ten Coach of the Year. He ended up making over $10 million. So he was actually one of the top 5 or 6 coaches in all of college football with the bonuses, but he kind of had to earn those things, which I think is okay. I don't think it's bad to have that thing, but I think what's appropriate salary no matter what happens. Hey, I can have a down year like Michigan may face in 2024 when everybody's kind of basically leaving and Michigan doesn't have a quarterback. I don't want to get ahead of myself. He wants an aggressive and innovative NIL approach. I could do an entire show about things I would do if I was running Michigan's NIL. Hell, how about this, guys? Would you donate? Would you watch if J.J. McCarthy with a production company like Chat Sports did a J.J. McCarthy postgame show on YouTube where you could take questions from him? Would you pay $50 to access that? Would you donate money to him? I think J.J. McCarthy and Donovan Edwards together, into one, Blake Corum, you get 1, 2 the top guys in Michigan. You do a YouTube live show. You say, I'm not talking to the media. I won't even do a single media entry. I'm doing my own media, YouTube. I'm getting advertisers. I bet we can make J.J. McCarthy easily $50,000 to $75,000 a month. Just through YouTube ads, sponsorships, and ad sales, doing ad reads like we've done for Manscaped and their awesome new beer. But that's where I'm at. I think we can do a lot of those things. And a bigger assistant pool and support staff budget. Michigan has kind of got there for the last 3 years. Other schools, Ohio State, Georgia, the same. LSU, under Brian Kelly, absolutely have hired a lot more people for support staff, recruiting, NIL. Other schools now have an NIL department, transfer portal department, recruiting department, where Michigan's kind of still holding up into like 5-6 people under one player personnel department. Some thoughts here that I've got a source on that the takeaways from the meeting last Thursday was that Jim Harbaugh Santa Ono. Harbaugh expressed the things that I just showed you on screen there, what he needs. Santa Ono says, look, Jim, I'm a man of my word. You can call around, call Cincinnati, talk about the head coaches I worked with there. When I gave my word, I stuck to it. I'm going to get you a salary, right? I need from you, Jim. I need a bigger buyout, so you don't have to look at the NFL every year. Okay, cool. We got that. We're going to get this thing done with NIL. We're going to make sure that things you just told me that we can do, we're going to get them done. Might not happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen over this next year. Okay, great. And we'll get it done. So let's kind of move forward. Let's meet with the NCAA, which we'll talk about here in a second. And as long as something doesn't happen catastrophic, we'll send a contract extension sometime this spring. All right, guys, we're going to talk more about injury updates and a position switch in just a moment. But before we do, I did want to ask you guys a question, looking back to the history of Michigan football. Because I've seen this guy on Twitter. I follow him. He follows me. It's like, Go Blue Pool 1. I think I should give him attribution, but we didn't. He put some really interesting questions. I saw a few of them, so I made up my own. If you need a score to win, let's say you're in a Michigan football game. You need one score to win. There's 2 minutes left in the game. You're down 6. You need, let's say, a touchdown. Which of those two quarterbacks, I think the most talented quarterbacks over the last 15 years, kind of post-Chad Henne era, these most talented quarterbacks for Michigan. Which of these guys you put in behind center, under center for Michigan, or behind center shotgun? J.J. McCarthy, Denard Robinson. I think people are going to say J.J. I think most people are going to say J.J. But Denard Robinson was one of the best in college football the last 20 years in fourth quarter comebacks. Indiana multiple times, Notre Dame multiple times, Northwestern. I mean, he was the comeback machine, and if you were down by 6 points, 5 points with a minute left, it was no problem. Denard Robinson could do it with his arm, could do it with his legs. I'm going to Denard Robinson until we see it from J.J. McCarthy. We saw it once last year, and still was like by the skin of his teeth they got by against Illinois. But maybe that's a testament to J.J. McCarthy that he didn't actually have to have any comebacks because Michigan was dominating pretty much every game this year except for Illinois when Blake Corum went out with injury. Let's update the NCAA allegations that came out a couple weeks ago. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh are planning to meet with the NCAA very soon. Now, I actually thought, as I got information on this last week, that it would be today or tomorrow, but I haven't got an update from there, so I definitely don't want to speculate that it's going to happen today or tomorrow, but very soon. If it goes past end of next week, I will be shocked. All right, inside sources expect Michigan to admit wrongdoings. I know some people say, don't admit anything, do what Alabama does. Say we did nothing wrong. Nevertheless, that's not the approach Michigan will take potentially. Prediction, Jim Harbaugh will admit to some wrongdoing. He's not going to admit that he lied, but maybe that he just was less than truthful, try to maybe cover up or, get somebody's back or who else did something bad, and that he may agree to a 2-game suspension. If the NCAA basically says, Jim, you serve a 2-game suspension, we could go up to 6 because what we did wrong, you're admitting to it, but if you admit to it, we'll give you 2, and that's the first 2 games of next season. So kind of see how that shakes out. That's my expectation from talking to source over the last 48 hours. Let's keep it rolling with the latest Michigan football news. The Don, Donovan Edwards, the Don gets past ransom. We'll have a second-hand surgery this month. Now, I was going to say this week, but I don't actually know if it's for sure this week. I heard originally it might be Thursday. That's, whatever. But I don't have an exact date. So it'll be this month to repair his broken hand. Had one right after the Big Ten championship game. Expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks of speed and strength training. Michigan's offseason program that gets underway on Monday, but will be fully healthy as long as the surgery is successful, which it usually is. You ever hear a surgery that say, oh, unsuccessful surgery? It's always successful surgery, right? And he talked to the media. He did some things this week, last couple of days. Here's some quotes from him I wanted to bring to you guys. I'm just trying to go to the league after this year. Trying to get drafted first round after this year. It's in God's plans for me, whatever that may be. If I have to come back for another year, which will be 2024, that's God's plan for me. My plan right now is to go to the NFL after this upcoming year, which would be his junior year. That's Donovan Edwards. That quote was first put out by On3. They did a kind of an offshoot interview at a NIL-style camp that Donovan Edwards and some other Michigan players did a few days ago. So let's take a look at what Donovan Edwards did. Let's just kind of look back. Michigan's backup quarterback, who he himself missed like 5 games, was behind a guy who was overused in Blake Corum, still put up some huge numbers, right? Started the last 2 games of the regular season, Ohio State, Purdue, 47 carries, 401 yards, 8.5 yards per carry, 75-yard touchdown, 85-yard touchdown, another touchdown against Purdue, but didn't do that well against TCU, right? Had a 50-plus yard carry on the first carry of the game, and then after that, you see, the rest, it's 60, 70 yards. And didn't score a touchdown. So Donovan Edwards, we're going to talk more about that, more about his quotes, thoughts about him and Blake Corum. But did want to make sure you guys we're going to toss in the live chat if we can, the link, chatsports.com/Don7. This bad boy is on sale for $29.07, right? Why do we think of that? Well, Michigan won back-to-back Big Ten titles. Number 9, right? We had to make up a price. We had kind of a price range, $29.07. 2 back-to-back Big Ten titles, so 2 titles, 2 wins over Ohio State. Number 9 for his classmate, J.J. McCarthy, and then 07 for the Don. I'm going to model this bad boy. I'm going to step back here in the studio. Kind of looks like a gut. I think these are abs of steel, baby. That's no gut right there. The Don shirt. This thing's awesome. Very high quality. It's not a cheap shirt by any means. It's very form-fitting. A little more form-fitting than I normally wear them. But you see these bad boys? You see these pythons? That is the Don shirt. Get it now. chatsports.com/Don. I'd leave this coat off. I'm just going to leave the Don shirt on the rest of the show. Keep that bad boy rolling. All right. Here's another quote from Donovan Edwards. With him, I'm talking about Blake Corum. You see the bottom of the screen. We could have won the national championship. He was the key piece that we really missed to win it all. I think that's true against TCU. That is absolutely true against TCU. But bear with me for a second. Just ponder this for a second. Would Michigan have beat Ohio State if Blake Corum had been fully healthy? Ponder that for a second. Because Donovan Edwards wouldn't have got the carries he got. They might have even played him because he got that big cast on his hand. And what broke the game open? Michigan was up by 1 score with 7.5 minutes left in the game. 75 yards. Then Ohio State comes down, etc. 85 yards. If those runs go to Blake Corum, I don't think Blake Corum takes those all the way to the house. And you never know. Maybe Blake Corum, right, that little crease, maybe he tries to do one of these things where he's like a little shiftier than Donovan Edwards, who just hits that hole, top-end speed for Edwards. Maybe Ohio State actually beats Michigan with Corum plays. It's crazy to think about, but it's just something with Donovan Edwards' injury that may have occurred. I'm not saying it would have happened, but I think Donovan Edwards was the absolute right offensive player against the Ohio State defense at the right time that Michigan needed him, much like Hassan Haskins was last year. There's something to ponder right now. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Michigan Football Report on YouTube. It's youtube.com/MichiganTV. Another quote I saw from this camp, it was Blake Corum and Will Johnson and a couple other players doing a little NIL camp, coaching up some young players. He said this, right? He said Miles Pollard, asking about who's going to be the cornerback opposite him with DJ Turner and Jamon Greenleaf. He said Miles Pollard, Jaden McBurrows, a couple high-level 3-star recruits from a year back. Amari and Walker, guys that definitely might be out there. We all have to work to figure it out. Who all and what our rotation will look like and who will play. Wait a second. Amari and Walker? The Notre Dame commit to from the state of Louisiana, Amari Walker, the wide receiver? Interesting. I don't know if he broke news because they're buddies. It seems like that might be a shakeup. So Amari Walker, who a lot of people thought would be in the rotation, right, with Andrew Anthony leaving, with Ronnie Bell leaving, with A.J. Henning not being much of a contributor. A lot of people have pegged Amari Walker as in the 2 deep, one of the top 4 or 5 wide receivers of Michigan next year. Could he be switching positions to cornerback? I think it'd be a good move because Michigan's very thin right now at cornerback. Might have to rely on some freshmen next year, but if he makes a switch, we'll see how it shakes out. Might be a switch like last year. Mike Sanders still comes in. Michigan's maybe defensive MVP. Name for me, guys, your the best Michigan cornerback ever. Not named Charles Woodson. Give me, and Matthew, I see that in the live chat. Free tickets to the gun show. You got that right. I'm a skinny guy, though. I don't really have many muscles. I think it just looks the shirt's pulling up. But best cornerback ever, not named Charles Woodson. Jordan Lewis, potentially out there. I think clearly like Marlon Jackson, Leon Hall, you can make arguments for. But let me know who you guys think. I see Marlon Jackson, Jordan Lewis. Ty Law probably is one of the really good ones. Early to mid 90s, 92, 93, 94, left the NFL early, NFL legend. Lewis or Law, Ty Law. I think Ty Law's got to be the one. Although it's kind of funny, there's a story back at end of the season 1994. Lloyd Carr, Michigan's defensive coordinator who became the head coach, told Ty Law, if you leave early for the NFL draft, you're not even going to get drafted. You need to get your butt back here. Ty Law turns out to be a Hall of Fame player. I think Lloyd Carr was a little bit off on that one. But I think the question I saw right there, Noof Dog, the reason I said that, I mean, you could have made an argument the last 4 or 5 games of the season that Will Johnson was the best cornerback in all of college football as a true freshman. He's going to be the best, in my opinion, next year. The best cornerback in all of college football. You've been making a case he's a 2-time All-American when all things shake out. He could be your Woodson number 2. He could be the kind of guy behind him, or hell, maybe he could be better than Woodson, but although I doubt that anyone has the ability to do that with Charles Woodson. But let me know the best cornerback ever, not named Charles Woodson. We just went through the Matt Weiss criminal probe, Jim Harbaugh's future, and now we're going to do a Michigan Football Report and MF for Q&A. I'm going to take a little sip of the water. And Jack, wardrobe alert time, right? Okay, so let's get this question. Who is your favorite Michigan football quarterback of all time? I think mine, funny enough, I think actually mine is Drew Henson, right? He only started 9 games for Michigan, but Drew Henson was coming up when I first started thinking about recruiting when I'm in high school and all this different stuff. And I think he's probably reminded me of J.J. McCarthy with threw the ball a little better, at least so far. At least just their style of play. They're not, Vince Young, not Denard Robinson, but boy, can they run, they can pass. They've got just like the prototype quarterback body and everything like that. But from outside of that, I don't know. I really like Tate Forsey that one year, although Michigan stunk when he was there. Brian Greasy is up there for me, but maybe all in, it's probably Chad Henne because those are some pretty cool years. 4-year starter, although he never won against Ohio State and actually lost 3 bowl games, his first 3, and then I got the win against Florida in his last year. So accomplishments were kind of lacking, although he was a 4-year starter for Michigan. All right, guys, let's get the Bosas. I'm gonna give a few shots here. I saw some Elvis Skurback. I saw Chad Henne was a monster, and Denard Robinson. I'm gonna take the helmet off for a second. Jack, you mind micing yourself up? Tell people, maybe give some shout outs. We're gonna type Bosa. Got to do a quick wardrobe change before our.
All right. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Sorry. Got to up the mic a little bit. All right. Bosa in the chat. Let's hear what you got. The Nate the Great. Mark Shenick. Eddie Brown. Schenk. Becky and Shad. Bayrola. Carl Cordell. Excuse me. Sean Schmidt. Roger Pack. Tim Backer. Noof Dog. Melvin. Noah. Get those Bosas in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Coldridge isn't there anymore, which sucks because I feel like that's an automatic dub if he was still there. But, I mean...
I was rooting for him to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I was rooting for him to come back too, honestly, because I'm like, that's just instant dub. But here we are. I mean, we're Ryan Day's daddy now, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Brano 2 times. Wyatt. Paul.
All right.
Michael. Lance. Ted.
All right. Am I back, Jack? Am I back on? All right. Cool. So keep having the Bosas in. I'll give some more. I think I said Thales Howard, Paul Levine, Michael Crabtree, Lance Martine, Ted Pride, Becky and Chad, the first couple of the Michigan Football Report. They're both Michigan football fans, both longtime viewers. Crack the Nut. You're a wild man on Twitter, man. I always see you in the replies on Twitter, so you're doing things right there. Bosa, Mark Schenk again with the Bosa. You can bring me back on screen, Jack, with this one. We'll pause before we get into the MF. I'm just pulling up the sleeves, guys, because I just switch outfits because this next segment is going to be presented by my clothing partner, Roan. I've got some Roan pants on. I got a Roan shirt on, so we'll tell you all about Roan here in a moment. Got to do some ad reads, of course, because we can't do things for free because we got to keep the lights on here. It costs a lot to produce shows like this with full graphics packages, et cetera, et cetera. So keep using Shane Johnson, my guy, Shane, with a Bosa. I'm going to a little drink of water before we start taking questions. My guy, Shane. Early next week, you're the Don shirts en route, my man. So keep it. Those are cool pictures you tweeted out today as well from Michigan football games. I think it was from the Big Ten championship game, if I recall. Keep it rolling. Heard C.J. Stroud wants to go to Indy from Tim Go Blue because he's never seen the stadium. Oh, baby, it's so good, Tim. It's so good. The jokes on C.J. Stroud. Nevertheless, where are you guys watching from? Shout out your cities. We're going to take your questions. So use hashtag Michigan or Super Chat. If any dollar will put you on screen. But if you want to get a $10 Super Chat, boom. You want to get on the helmet. You want to be on our screen credit at the end of the show. We'll put on one show per week for this entire offseason. Your name will be part of our show. Going forward, you can do a $10. Becky and Chad, Toledo, Ohio. I spent some of my better years in Toledo. I met my wife in Toledo, Ohio. Fort Bragg from Caleb. Fort Bragg, North Carolina from Caleb Amon. Carl Cordler from Rushville. Carl, I think we sent you a Michigan football jersey a while back, if I recall. No, it was the T-shirt. It was the T-shirt. That's right. Michigan, born and raised in Ann Arbor from Tim Go Blue. Grosse Isle, Michigan from Roger Pack. Columbus, Ohio from Michael Crabtree. That's my guy representing Michigan in the Columbus area in C-Bus, as they call it. Keep giving your shout-outs to your city. Home of the Big Ten Championship from Kalen Tackett, Indianapolis, Indiana. Wyoming, Michigan from Tim Is it Baker or Backer? I'm just going to say Backer because the two Ks, but it could be Baker. I apologize if we messed that up. Keep shouting out your city, and you got to use hashtag Michigan. If you use hashtag Michigan for a question, we're going to take about 12 to 15 minutes of your questions coming up all on the Michigan Football Report from Chat Sports right now. Make sure you use hashtag Michigan to get your questions answered live on our show. Recording this on our Wednesday live show. We've got a bunch of great Michigan football content to get into. A lot of great questions from our live audience. Use hashtag Michigan. Always get you on the show. The Michigan Football Report is presented by Roan. They just launched their new commuter collection. It is. Look at this shirt. I just changed it mid-show. This thing was wrinkled, Jack. You see this? Wrinkled. We'll tell the people what it looks like now. It looks wrinkle-free. I put it on my body heat activated. They got amazing pants. It's kind of like dress pants that I honestly feel like athletic pants. Go to roan.com/chatsports. Use promo code chatsports to get 20% off your order. We've got some questions coming in here on the Michigan Football Report. Cody Momfer, $5 super chat from Cody Momfer. Thank you so much, Cody. Appreciate that super. It says, James, do you think the situation with Matt Weiss will impact Jaden Davis' potential future at Michigan? Go Blue. Hashtag, or just Bosa in general. Great question, honestly. It's a really good question, Cody, because it's something to consider. But I'm going to take a contrarian view here. What has Matt Weiss been known for? And he's kind of a quiet guy, so I'm not sure if he's known for a ton of everything. But he was the running game coordinator in Baltimore, and he actually kind of put in a lot of the running plays they had with Lamar Jackson. Came to Michigan, they need to put a spot for him. Okay, cool. I've coached quarterbacks here and there. Be quarterbacks coach. Jim Harbaugh likes to fancy himself as a quarterbacks coach as well. But he's been kind of a poor recruiter. You've got 2 5-stars in the state of Michigan, 2023 class, 2024. You've got, what's his name, Dante Moore. You've got C.J. Carr, who's maybe not necessarily a 5 anymore, top 50 player. And Jaden Davis, he gets none of them. So I could say he's really struggled with recruiting the position he was brought in to coach. So only can go up from here, in my opinion. He's been the coach for 2 years, 3 recruiting cycles, and has not got a single high-level quarterback recruit. So, Cody, great question. Something to consider. I think recruiting certainly is his weak point, and analytics and play design might be a strength. So maybe Michigan gets a guy in there who's a much better recruiter. If you guys would like to Bosa, I've seen a lot of people doing Bosa. If you don't know what it means, it's beat Ohio State again. If you want Michigan to Bosa in 2023, 3rd straight year, 4th straight season that Michigan will not lose to Ohio State or beat them. Make sure you guys like the video. We let this bad boy roll and led to an undefeated season this year. If you like the video, if you want to beat this week's opponent, like the video. Don't jinx it, because we've got a list now. We've got a list of people who ignore the like button when we ask you to. We're coming for you. If Michigan loses the game, or hell, if they lose to Ohio State next year, smash that like button. Let's take a look at the 2023 Michigan football schedule really quick, because now we are in the rearview mirror of 2022. Start off the year with East Carolina. If you guys saw, on the Harbaugh segment of Michigan Football Report with Warde Manuel, there's a chance he could be suspended for 2 games next year, right? Could that be East Carolina, UNLV at home? Okay, Michigan shouldn't miss much of that. Bowling Green, the weakest out-of-conference schedule again for the 2nd year in a row, or one of them in all of Power 5. Rutgers, 4 straight home games. Then they go on the road at Nebraska, at Minnesota, back-to-back, Indiana, Michigan State. You go into October 28th, so Halloween weekend, Michigan has a bye week on October 28th. Then the following week, home against Purdue on the road. Now, this November is a little bit pricklier than years past. Tua's brother at Maryland, he's coming back, so they're going to be good. So Michigan's going to have a road game against what could be a top 5 by then, but certainly preseason top 10 Penn State team. A Maryland team that has got things rolling, has got a good offense, and returning their quarterback for his 3rd year starting. And then, of course, Ohio State before the Big Ten championship game. So Michigan's got easy early part of the schedule, but very tough month of November. Purdue, hell, I mean, Michigan just faced them, didn't really do great against them, but they were a formidable opponent in the Big Ten championship game. So you saw the schedule there. Predict just in those 12 games, right? Those 12 games that are on the schedule. Give me your Michigan football prediction for the 2023 season, record prediction. What will their record be? Look, I predicted 11-1 this past year, and I was wrong. Right? They went 12-0. Okay, cool. I think in my early one, I'm just going to go 12-0. I think Michigan is there. If they don't go 12-0, the only reason I could see is that the team gets a little bit too inflated of their I guess expectations next year and don't put in the work this offseason. But predict in the comments and the live chat Michigan's 12-game regular season record this upcoming season. Guys, I'm sure you are just like me and have social life, parenting responsibilities, and heck, even like to hit the golf course sometimes while on company time. Well, I've got your solution to the hassle of changing clothes between your daily activities. It is the Commuter Collection from Roan. Athletic dress pants, shirts, and apparel. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Roan stepped up to the challenge. I am wearing Roan's commuter shirt and commuter pants, both part of the Commuter Collection, which is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. And here's why. Roan helps you get ready for any occasion with the Commuter Collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Roan Commuter Collection. Roan's comfortable four-way stretch fabric provides flexibility, breathability that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way. From when you commute to work to 18 holes on the golf, it's time to feel confident without the hassle with Roan's wrinkle release technology. As you guys may have just saw, I switched shirts between segments. Wrinkles disappear, super stretchy, super flexible. I could toss a sports coat on this bad boy, going to dinner after the show, switch out of my Don shirt into this Roan shirt. It was wrinkled, I didn't iron it, went instantly no wrinkle just by my body. They've got Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, sticking the place up no longer thanks to Roan. Be smelling fresh and clean all day long. It's 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. I love the Roan shirts. I hate having to iron shirts. I hate the collars. I hate the fact that it all bunches up here and there. Roan is form-fitting, it is wrinkle release, and it looks good wearing with a sports coat, with slacks, or hell, untucked like I have it here because I've got the Roan pants on as well. Whoa, I almost take my mic out. Head to Roan.com/chatsports. Use a promo code chatsports. Save 20% off your Roan order. 20% off. That's RHONE.com/chatsports. It's time to find your corner office comfort. Link is down in the bottom or down in the comments and description of today's video. And Jack, we toss in the live chat when you get a chance. All right, guys. Super chat coming in from my guy, Miami, Shane, my dog, my man. Appreciate you, Shane. Really wish we could have got together in Miami. I was just a little too tight on time. I overpromised, under-delivered there. He says, Edmund have won the Natty with a healthy Corum and Schoonmaker. King, of course, me. Henderson, Keegan, Nugent, Zinter, Barnhart, Trenty Jones, number 80, blocking tight end. Who you got? So I think he's talking about our Michigan's offensive line next year. So let's just take that in twofold here. He says Michigan would win Natty with healthy Blake Corum. I can't deny it, right? Luke Schoonmaker, who was maybe the top target of J.J. McCarthy for a stretch last year. And he's got one more here, $2. I'm sorry. Shane Johnson, really appreciate you, my man. He says, who would have beat Georgia with 10? We'd have beat Georgia with 10 with the healthy Corum and Schoonmaker. Okay, interesting. Go back to this one, Jack. Do we have? I know we're skipping ahead here. Can we go to my offensive line depth chart really quick? Because I think that's kind of what he's asking here. Shane. Ask and you shall receive, my man. Let's take a look at my Michigan offensive line depth chart going into next season, all right? Michigan's returning 3 guys who were starters for the majority of the season next year. Ryan Hayes and Olu Oluwatimi leaving. But then you got a bunch of guys like Trenty Jones and Carson Barnhart and others that Giovanni El Hadi that were starters at multiple points throughout the year. So Henderson coming from Arizona State, I pegged him as the left tackle starter. Miles Hinton, starter at Stanford, his backup. Left guard, Trevor Keegan for another year. Giovanni El Hadi will, get some rotation in there. He'll be a backup. He started a couple games this year. Drake Nugent from Stanford, I've got him as my starter, but I don't think it's a guarantee that he's starter. Greg Crippen and a couple other players will battle for that job as well. Zach Zinter should be an All-American next year, returning for his 4th year. Reese Atterbury backing him up. And then Carson Barnhart was the jack of all trades, started at a bunch of different positions this year. He was a right guard, left tackle, right tackle. He will be your right tackle with Trenty Jones, who was last year's opening day starter at the right tackle position. He's kind of got injured, didn't really perform that well. I've got him dropping back to a backup going into, I think that's going to be his 5th year next year, actually, for Trenty Jones. Let me look at my depth charts. I put it in there. Trenty Jones is going into his 5th year next year. Gosh, time flies. That is kind of crazy how things shake out. Thank you so much to Shane Johnson for the super chat. Proper M fan says, how do you see Corum, Edwards, and really the whole offensive approach next year? So I think he's kind of talking about the breakdown between those 2 guys. 2 all-conference, all-American level running backs. I think 2 things on those guys in particular. I don't think you're going to see any 28 or 31 or 27 carry games from Blake Corum. I think Donovan Edwards will get more opportunities when they've got room to run breakaway touchdowns. But we saw in those last games at the end of the year, Michigan really struggled inside the 10-yard line, especially against TCU, without Blake Corum. So I think he's still going to get all the carries inside the 5. He'll probably have more touchdowns as such. But Blake, Donovan Edwards will get more opportunities when he can break one for 50, 60, 75, 85. Outside of that, I think you can see Donovan Edwards when Corum's in the game. You can see those guys both in the game a bit next year. It was a plan this year. They both just kept getting injured at the wrong time. And you saw, Penn State a little different, but they both ran for like 160. So out wide receiver, slot receiver, or two running backs in the backfield. One goes out for a pass, the other guy stays in for a block. I think you'll see some innovative things with that. From the offensive approach next season, I don't know. I've been disappointed for many years with Michigan football, knowing what they have coming back. And they haven't lived up to the potential of the talent. This should be next year. Wide receiver still a question mark, but I think all in the deepest and most talented Michigan football offense of the last 30 years at least. And as such, I really hope Michigan can, not do what they did this year, which is, okay, a lot of games, we start slow and then we turn on after halftime. Or beginning of the year, we're up 35-0, 42-0 against Hawaii or UConn, and then we just do nothing at halftime. I'd love to see Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, Alabama style, score 65 points, leave your starters in until the fourth quarter, get those stats, run up the stats, right? But I'm not confident that Jim Harbaugh will do it because I think he thinks he's found a philosophy, running the football, ball control, wearing people down, that works, has led to Michigan to back-to-back seasons, 25-1 over the last two regular seasons. Josh Sherwood, my guy, Josh, really appreciate you. You are a helmet sticker guy. Josh, you were on there somewhere. Appreciate your contributions. You'll be on the show credits later on this month when we do it. Do you think Weiss will be back with the program? I've been putting together the show for the past 3 hours or so I'll be honest, I haven't kept up if there's been any news that it broke. So sometimes, I don't know, I get caught off guard if anything's happened. But I can't see that he will. So I'm going to say no. Hope he is. Hope it's nothing. I hope it's nothing. But the fact that it was reported by a coworker, someone at Schembecker Hall, at his employer, to the police department that covers his employer, it's a government-run organization or university, so there's FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, so Michigan, a reporter, somebody can kind of file paperwork, get all the information that may come of it, whatever internal communications may have happened. I think when it comes out, it's not going to look good, whatever it is, or it's going to be at least enough where Michigan can't, in reality, keep him on. So I don't think that he will, but I think he'll end up on his feet. Jim Harbaugh will probably be like, hey, go to the Ravens. Go back to the Ravens. My brother will take you. NFL kind of he has the ability to overlook those things a lot easier than college football does. All right, next question coming in from Bosa. I like this guy's username. What's the QB situation at Ohio State looking like next season? All right, guys, I'm going to tell you about that in 1 second. But I want to get to this part of the show. We'll get back to Bosa. If you've yet to subscribe, we are less than 400 subscribers away from 26,000. If you're watching live, you probably subscribe. If you're watching on demand, I'll put this out on the weekend. Maybe you're not. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below the video. And it's always best to get a recommendation from a friend. Hey, I'm going to a city. What's the best steakhouse? What's the best this? What's the best that? How about what's the best Michigan football show on YouTube, Michigan football show of any platform? Send the link. Send to your group chats, youtube.com/Michigan TV. Back to this question from Bosa. What's the QB situation at Ohio State next season? You guys have watched this show, if you have, over the last year and a half, 2 years, and no one has been more critical of an opponent's quarterback than I have. And I was vindicated to no one's business, right? With Coldridge Stroud. I said the guy has the worst body language. I said he can't play in the cold weather. I said he's not a leader, and he's going to crumble when times get tough. And people say, oh, he threw for 300 yards against Michigan. Yeah, but they scored 3 points in the second half, and they couldn't do anything when the game was on the line last year. I think my take on the Ohio State quarterback situation is that Ryan Day made a mistake back in 2021 by starting C.J. Stroud over Kyle McCord, or hell, even maybe Quinn Ewers, who's turning out to be a decent quarterback, although not a superstar quarterback yet, at Texas. You never know. Would Ohio State have beat Michigan with Kyle McCord over C.J. Stroud? I don't know. I think Michigan had a good game plan to score on Ohio State at will, so maybe no matter what Ohio State did on offense wouldn't have mattered. But C.J. Stroud, he proved in his last game against Georgia, I can actually run, but he was too mentally weak and I think afraid of getting hit to run. I think Kyle McCord's a tough player. I also think if you watch his film, him and Marvin Harrison Jr. are one of the great high school wide receiver quarterback duos of all time. That may have played into it a little bit better than Stroud and Harrison did, where they basically did nothing in the second half. I think McCord's going to be a stud. I think he might be the only reason that Michigan might not beat Ohio State at home this past year. I think Ohio State's getting an upgrade at quarterback, and had Ryan Day made that choice in 2021 fall practice, maybe the entire history of this program or this rivalry may be different. But as always, we're going to continue to be pounding that Bosa train. Beat Ohio State again. Let it up in the comments and in the live chat. Beat Ohio State again. Bosa, let them up in the live chat and in the comments. Bosa. Bosa. Melvin coming to the question here. What's the word on Davis? What do you think about coach meeting with Raiola, Raiola, whatever his name is, but Dylan Raiola from the state of California, who was committed to Ohio State, #1 quarterback in the 2024 class. And, Jaden Davis is my top quarterback, but this guy, Dylan Raiola, was committed to Ohio State, decommitted. There's a lot of rumors he's going to Georgia, right? He was in person at the national championship game, saw Georgia and LA drop. I'm sorry, he's from Arizona. I was thinking the LA thing, but he went from Arizona out to LA for the national title game. Georgia, 65 points, was hanging out with the Georgia program. There's a lot of word that maybe he was leaning there. His dad played for the Lions, but also played for Nebraska in college, and so there's a connection there. Now, his uncle is on the staff at Nebraska, right? It's really the only holdover, I believe, from the last staff there with Scott Frost, but he grew up in Michigan. His dad played for the Lions for a decade. You never know. I don't think it's likely, but there are all kinds of family situations or things you remember from your childhood that draw you to certain parts of the country. So if Jim Harbaugh can make an inroads with him, go for it. He's the best player in the 2024 class. What's the word with Davis? I don't know. I was convinced he was going to commit to Michigan from everything I heard in December. Didn't happen. Harbaugh looking in the NFL. I think Michigan's lost a lot of momentum, although all the blog boy crystal balls are still on Michigan. So until then, I would say it's more likely than not that Jaden Davis ends up in Michigan, but we'll see. Think about next year, who's going to have more rushing yards, Blake Corum or Donovan Edwards? I don't know the answer to this one. I'm actually taking you guys so I can think about how we approach this offseason and speculating what this offense will look like. So if you guys want to chime in on this, who has more rushing yards in 2023? I'm going to put this in the show next week, so you guys might be interested to hear this one. I did about an hour and a half of research, and I did a little Twitter poll to help me out where I'm going. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, going into a season, is one of the top 5 most productive running back duos in the history of college football going into a season. Now, there's been plenty of seasons where guys have had like 1,800 yards, 1,200 yards in one season, but one of them leaves the next year, right? So I'm talking about what they did one year, they're both coming back the next year. Incoming production, there's only one I found that has absolutely better across the board rushing, and that was SMU with Eric Dickerson and what's his name, the other guy, Craig James, both 1,000-yard rushers. But Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum, if you count receiving yards, they actually have more yards from line of scrimmage than those guys. So best line of scrimmage running back duo that I could find in college football. I went back 40-plus years, and they are tied for the most touchdowns from a running back duo going into a season from the prior year. Let me know, BC or DE. It's pretty much split halfway in the live chat, so keep it rolling. Make sure you guys comment down if you're watching this later on demand. Crack the nut question. I'm interesting here. It's pretty interesting from the live chat. I'm going to kind of grab this one. Sure, Warde says, I'm late, but my guess is Weiss got on Harbaugh's email to see if he was interviewing or getting an NFL job. Now, that's kind of wild if that's the case. That would be interesting. That's one I haven't thought of. Did he sneak into Harbaugh's office or just got a computer that Harbaugh was using? Shane Johnson with the $2 super chat. Appreciate you. We'll get that in a second. And say, okay, I'm going to check Harbaugh's email to see if any of these NFL teams we've communicated with his agent. I would think it'd be pretty weird for Jim Harbaugh to do that on a university device, but nevertheless. Crack the Nut says, does Darius, we'll go to that. We'll come back to Crack the Nut after this, Jack, if we can. Shane Johnson with the $2 super chat, because I did not get to the Crack the Nut question. Bryce Underwood, class of 2025, better than both. Now, this is a kid out of the state of Michigan. Right now, some people have as the #1 player in the 2025 class. But look, he's just coming off his sophomore year. We saw with Dante Moore, Michigan offered him as a 7th grader going to 8th grade. I don't know why Dante Moore really just didn't want to stick around in the Big Ten. Wanted to go out to UCLA? I mean, come on. Oregon? But Bryce Underwood, class 2025, absolutely Michigan needs to nail him. They need to lock him down, get a commitment. But the biggest problem right there is J.J. McCarthy could and probably will go pro after this 2023 season. So then you've got 24 with who? Who's your quarterback this year, right? You might be Jaden Davis as a true freshman. Then Bryce Underwood comes in 2025 as a true freshman if you don't get Davis. Like, I know Davis Warren's out there, but he was still walk-on, still has injury history. I think Michigan might have to be going to the transfer portal after the 2023 season unless they get Jaden Davis and he just comes in as an all-time world beater, or J.J. McCarthy comes back for a year. But if you guys don't know, Bryce Underwood, out of the state of Michigan right now is listed by most services as the number one player or number one quarterback in the 2025 class, the kids that just got done with their sophomore year of high school or in the middle of their sophomore year of high school. All right, go back to this one. Crack the nut. Does Darius Clemens play a big part next year? Are we more explosive? And who is running back one? Jack, why don't we do this? Since we're on these questions, we've got the graphics for our next segment anyways. Why don't we go to my wide receiver depth chart for a second? Kind of see how we shake out. Losing Andrew Anthony, losing Blake Corum. Here's what I've got the Michigan offensive wide receiver depth chart. So he asked about Darius Clemens. I got my starter, all right? Starting on the outside, taking the Ronnie Bell job. Cornelius Johnson, I think, will be Michigan's leading wide receiver next year. But Darius Clemens could have a breakthrough, right? Johnson really hasn't done anything too special. We can go back to the question after this, Jack. And then Clemens will slot in there. Christian Dixon, going to go in his third year, hasn't done. Carmelo English, true freshman. Tyler Morris, going in his second year as well, one of J.J. McCarthy's high school teammates. Roman Wilson in the slot. That slot position's one that's like, those guys can go all over the field with how Michigan runs this offense. They can get reverses, etc. So that's kind of how I think that shakes out. Running back number one, it's Blake Corum, but they're going to split carries, pretty evenly. I think one guy will probably get 17, 18. One guy will get 12 to 15 per game, and they'll get things mixed up in and around there. I said this earlier in the show, the live show, but going to follow back the next 5 people who follow me on Twitter. Going to do it on Wednesday night with the live show. I will also do it on the weekend. We're going to put out that mailbag cut of your questions. We're going to put that out on Saturday. So anybody who follows me Saturday as well, I'll follow back the first 5 people who follow me on Twitter on Saturday. It's at James Yoder. Link is down in the comments and the description. Just type at James Yoder in Twitter, or we'll put it in the YouTube live chat as well. All right, we went through the Matt Weiss criminal probe, Jim Harbaugh's future, and the Michigan Football Report mailbag Q&A. Jack, if you get a chance, toss that Twitter link in the live chat so people can get at me on Twitter, folks. You guys didn't know that between those last segments after the Harbaugh news, before we did the Q&A with you guys, I did a whole wardrobe change. Look at this. I got the Don shirt. I'm just going to put it, I'm not going to be a slob. I'm going to put it on there. I did a little wardrobe change, put Roan on, and it was completely wrinkled and looks pretty damn good as it shakes out. So make sure you guys are getting going with Roan. You see my Twitter account there. I'll put the link for Roan in there as well. 20% off roan.com/chatsports. How excited are you for the future of Michigan football? Give me on a scale of 1 to 10. I switch shirts, but whenever it happens when you switch clothes on this show, I always feel my cords are yanking on me after that. Let me know how excited you guys are for the future of Michigan football. I am wildly excited for next year. I am wildly excited for 2023. But after that, it's kind of murky. I don't know. It's kind of murky, right? Michigan will have back-to-back kind of not top 15 recruiting classes, 2022, 2023. This is kind of the worst recruiting class Harbaugh's had in about 5 years since like his second or third season, unless something changes in the next 2 weeks. And then if J.J. McCarthy goes pro, think about the exodus after the 2023 season. Let me just list them off for you. J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, Zach Sinter, Trevor Keegan probably some of those offensive linemen that are on the depth chart. I'll kind of go over them. I'm forgetting some of the transfer guys' names. Where do we go here? So Colston Loveland will be back, of course. So that's good. I see C.J. Stokes, the guy for running back in 2024. Ladarius Henderson, he might be gone. Carson Barnhart, he potentially be gone. Trente Jones, and even though he's going to be a backup this year, he could be gone as well. Mike Sainristil, Michael Barrett, Junior Colston probably leaves after his third year next year. There's a lot of talent that's going to be gone off this team. Rod Moore could go pro. He'll be a third-year player after 2023. Makari Page potentially could go. He's going into his 4th season at Michigan. So you'll have Colston Loveland back in 24. You'll have Will Johnson back. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities for young guys to get playing time. And I don't know if that's always the best method for a program to just completely lose 15, 16 starters off of one team going from one offseason into the next. So I'm going to go for like an 8.5. If it's just 2023, I'm going to go 10. If it's after 23, I'm going to go like a 6.5 until I see how Michigan kind of shakes out. Could they get a transfer portal quarterback after this year? We'll see how things kind of play out from there. If you have not yet, guys, this is what we're doing. We've been doing it for the last month and a half. Hard Hat Club. We filled this bad boy up with 150 or so stickers. We got 4 different hard hats. Any $10 super chat gets in the hard hat. I'm going to fill a couple of these up with dollar bills, give away a Blake Corum football once we get this 4th one filled up. So you have about 8 to 10 more of them. Give you a few shots in the last few shows. Dominic Francillo, John Blaze, our Super Chat MVP, basically. Wolverine Alaska, our Super Chat MVP runner-up. Iceman Comp. A lot of Wolverine Alaskas and John Blaze. Mr. TBD 123. Some guy, Cody Momfrey, you saw a Super Chat coming in from him earlier. Eastside Zach, my boy. He's on Twitter. He always quote tweets me. John Crandall, we saw him as well going back a couple weeks. Mike Layton, we saw Mike Layton earlier, didn't we, on the show? Rock City. Blue Wolverine, haven't seen him as much lately, but he's in our top 5 on the Super Chat. Jeremy Clore, Cody Miller, Cool Moti, Cruiser for Show, Neva Bold 11, Travis Mitchell, of course Wolverine Alaska, of course John Blaze, Rick Harfer, he is up there as well. I think I said Mike Layton, Jacksonville Zoe. I'll go back to some of the day ones from a couple months ago, from a month ago. So we got John Blaze, Wolverine Alaska, basically on every single helmet, of course. Cool Moti again. Dan Fair, haven't seen him in a couple weeks. Preston Yoder, my son, gave me $20 out of his collection. Josh Sherwood, Mr. Bojangles, 870. Dan Fair, I think I mentioned him. Any of these that couple guys underneath? I think one of these helmets have somebody have some names underneath them. Yeah, there we go. This one's got a bunch from underneath because we couldn't fill it up. Wolverine Alaska, John Crandall, John Blaze, and others. So if you want to Super Chat $10, you'll be on the show, you'll be on the helmet, and you'll be part of our live show credit. Join the Hard Hat Club, folks. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. If you want to be on our post-show credits once a week for this offseason, make a $10 Super Chat over the next 2 weeks. We are going to dive into my 2023 early Michigan football offensive depth chart, the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. That's coming up right now. The Michigan Football Report is presented by Manscaped. They just launched their beard collection. I'm going to tell you about it in just a moment, but it is amazing. Go to manscaped.com as it slides out of my body. It slides out of there. The beard hedger, it is amazing. I trimmed up with it on Monday when I received mine. 20% off and free shipping. Use promo code GOBLUE at manscaped.com. Let's take a question from you guys. We're going to look at the 2023 Michigan football offensive depth chart pre-spring. Better Michigan football team. So you got to kind of project here. 2022, 13-0, lost TCU in the CFP, beat Ohio State again, Big Ten champions, or what we'll see in 2023. So I'm going to say 2022 until proven wrong, although I do think 2023 will have better talent, more proven talent, higher-end talent even in some ways, but more depth. But 13-0 back-to-back years, that's a tough, very few college football teams ever really have done that. So Michigan's got to make the national championship game, I think, for me to think that the 2023 team will be better. So right now, I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to go with 2022. Carl Cordell in the live chat says 2023. Melvin says 2023 as well. Mark Shank says 2022. We'll miss Ronnie Bell, Schoonmaker, and Mozzie Smith. Kind of agree there. 2023 from Noof Dog. Make sure you guys are commenting in the live chat and down in the description. It is my early, way too early, offensive depth chart for this Michigan football team, heading into what could be a three-peat Big Ten championship, three-peat Big Ten, beat Ohio State again, and a three-peat college football playoff appearance. Quarterback's the first one up, and this should be no surprise, but there's a couple names in there that maybe you guys aren't as familiar with. J.J. McCarthy, going to his third year, could be his last year, second year as starter, undefeated regular season. He was 12-0 as a starter, didn't start the first game. Davis Warren, though, was a high-level recruit early on in his high school days, out of California, got injured. Maybe some people thought it was a career-ending injury. Michigan gave him a walk-on shot, and by the end of the season, he was Michigan's backup. Cade McNamara hurt. Other guys didn't perform as well, and he is now on scholarship. Then you've got Jack Tuttle, who was a top 250 quarterback 4 years ago, right? He was a 2018 recruit, was at a couple schools there, but most recently Indiana, started a couple games for him a few years back. He's probably your quarterback 3 because I don't think Alex Orji and others are really ready to be that backup quarterback. I think Michigan needs to go to the backup in a clutch situation, Davis Warren, and then go for a high-end talent guy who's got some experience in Jack Tuttle, the transfer from Indiana. Let's take a look back at J.J. McCarthy. It's a sweet graphic, Jack. I like this graphic. Graphics department, Chat Sports, best in the biz. 64% completion percentage last year, 2,700 yards. Now, that's not anything to really call home to mom about, 2,700 yards, right? There's some quarterbacks out there in other schools that get to 2,700 yards by their 8th or 9th game. You think back, Joe Burrow had 2,700 yards by like the 7th game a few years back. 22 touchdowns. Again, They're quarterbacks that have that after their sixth game. I think Michigan has always struggled with big passing yards, big touchdown numbers for quarterbacks. I mean, hell, that 2022 touchdown is like 7th in Michigan football history, and like 8 of them came in their last 3 games. It's kind of crazy to think about. 5 interceptions and a 12-1 record for J.J. McCarthy as things shook out in the 2022 season. 2 pick sixes against TCU. That's the biggest knock on him. Jack and I talked to a couple of the TCU players. I talked to both players who intercepted him in that game, both pick sixes. And both guys basically said, we knew the second they lined up, we knew exactly what route my guy was going to run. I could jump the route, especially the linebacker who took it back, the one in the second half. So I think Michigan's offensive play calling probably needs a little bit of revamp if TCU is able to game plan for him and basically get pick sixes because they knew exactly what the wide receiver was going to do. So maybe it's not as much as JJ's fault as it is that Michigan doesn't disguise their offensive pass tree routes very well. But I'll ask you guys this question. You saw J.J. McCarthy, 2,700-plus yards last year in 2022. Started every game but one, but was set out in the second half of a lot of games early on where maybe we could have padded the stats. How many passing yards, knowing that Donovan Edwards, knowing that Blake Corum will be back in this upcoming season and Michigan will have the best running back combo in America, how many passing yards will J.J. McCarthy have in 2023? The Michigan record is something like 3,300 yards against John Navarre. Last time I checked, although I should know that by heart. But you guys tell me, how many passing yards will J.J. McCarthy have in the 2023 season? I'm going to make sure I look at that really quick. Passing yards season. John Navarre, 3,331. Shea Patterson, 3,061. Jake Rudock, over 3,000. Devin Gardner, John Navarre, Trey Denny. So J.J. McCarthy, 2,700 yards, 8th best season in Michigan football history. And that's kind of crazy to think about, where it wouldn't even be in the top 30 in a lot of other schools. So let me know what you guys think for passing yards for McCarthy. Let's keep rolling now. We're talking about Michigan football offensive depth chart headed into the 2023 season. We're going to dive into the running backs, tight ends, wide receiver, which you'll be really pretty interested in, and then that glut of talent and transfers at offensive line. I got producer in my ear. We got some breaking news here, folks. The Michigan Football Report. Manscaped has launched their new beard product. The Michigan Football Report is presented by Manscaped. Attention to all bearded gentlemen. Manscaped has launched their beard grooming kits. Are you tired of using multiple products to maintain your beard? I know I am when I grow a beard. It certainly could help out my mustache. Well, that's where Manscaped comes in. Look no further than the luxury beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped. This complete beard maintenance kit has everything you need for the modern man on the go. From trimming to treatment, this kit has it all. It includes a beard hedger, AC adapter, USB-C cable to charge it, beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard oil, balm, and a travel bag. Plus, as a special bonus, you'll also receive a free beard accessory pack with a brush, beard comb, and scissors to trim it up when it's kind of like, growing a little wildfire on one side or such, or maybe little chops up the side. You need to kind of even those bad boys out. The beard hedger was designed with a unique cutting angle to have its built-in comb lift flat-lying hairs for smooth single-stroke trimming. For a limited time, folks, 20% off this new product just launched on Tuesday. Look at this bad boy. This is awesome. I've been waiting for one of these bad boys. I've used my clipper some time to trim it up. Oh, it's go like crazy. It's got amazing stuff. Manscaped.com, promo code GOBLUE. We mentioned all the cool stuff. Look at this little beard brush. You make that bad boy shine and look good. Oh, hey, I need to comb that. If you look in style, sometimes you get these beards that just look like a jungle, look completely unkempt. Plus, you've got the beard balm. You got the beard conditioner. So if you want to grow a beard and make it look styling, anybody stunting, Manscaped has got you covered, folks. Support the show. Use promo code GOBLUE, the beard hedger from Manscaped. It's designed for you. If you've got a beard, that bad boy is amazing. Get going, manscaped.com/GoBlue. Link is down in the comments and the description. Promo code GoBlue, I should say, and in the live chat. Get going, Manscaped. Support the show. Use promo code GOBLUE. Let's over to the running back. I think the best position of any school in college football. I think Michigan's running back room is the best depth at any position in all of college football coming in to this season. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, you can call him running back A and A, 1 and 1A if you want. C.J. Stokes will be back there. I think Michigan probably could have done well with getting a transfer portal running back because I don't think I've seen a ton out of Stokes yet. But after this 2023 season, just like a quarterback, after 2023, and Michigan really needs to identify what's going to happen in that position. Because if you go into 2024 with C.J. Stokes as your starting running back, I mean, Cole Cabana will be a sophomore. Maybe he's the guy, hopefully, but still not a ton of depth with as much as Michigan likes to run the ball. Ask you guys this question. Who's going to have more rushing yards in 2023? Let me know what you guys are thinking. If it's Blake Corum, BC, Donovan Edwards, type DE. I'll pin this comment below the video, this one. So when we do this, so let's remind ourselves, we'll pin this one below the video. I really want to get you guys' take on what you think will come of this Michigan football team next year from the running perspective. Blake Corum, surprising a lot of people, maybe not me, maybe not you, but surprising a lot of college football fans, returning for a fourth year. He would have won the Heisman had he not got hurt against Illinois. That is a fact. But let me know who has more yards next year, rushing, Corum or Edwards. Speaking of Edwards, the Don! We launched our own shirts. And hey, Edwards, you watching this, look, if you want to do a deal with us, take a portion of the shirts. As of now, you know, it's not. But this is a very high-quality shirt. I'll give you the, it's Next Level. So they're American Eagle Next Level, kind of the best two T-shirts in the game. I want to make sure you guys know the 100% cotton. So it's not a cheap shirt at all. It's not one of these like, I don't know, Gildan shirts that feel like junk. If you want to get the Don shirt, the Don 7, if you are not familiar, that is the name. Donovan Edwards said this week, he actually said, I've been going by the Don for a while. Okay, cool. Gus Johnson even asked me if I wanted that as a nickname. Great. But two of the best play calls from a announcer perspective in Michigan football history, 75 yards, 85-yard touchdown runs, and both times Gus Johnson, 75 yards, touchdown, Michigan, the Dons. I'm a big fan of that shirt. I'm glad we have it. If you guys want one, we sold 100. Now there are 50 more out there that you can buy, and we'll probably keep releasing them in spots, but they won't be available forever. Chatsports.com/Don7. It's in the live chat, down in the comments, and the description of today's video. Big position I'm excited about this year. I think this guy is about to explode onto the college football scene. Michigan fans know about him. Ohio State fans know about him because that touchdown he scored against them. You watched the Big Ten Championship. You saw that catch he made in double coverage, and that's Colston Loveland, sophomore. By the end of the year, he was Michigan's best tight end. And I think even if there wouldn't have been injuries, I think he'd have been getting snaps with Eric All or Luke Schoonmaker. He would have got snaps this year. A.J. Barner, coming over from Indiana, he was a starting tight end. I think there'll kind of be a two tight end set like you've seen with Michigan. Max Bredesen, the Bredesen family, kind of gold loyalty around Michigan. He is a tight end. He was in there a ton, mostly blocking. I think he'll still get a big role blocking, sometimes lighting up at fullback. Max Bredesen will be your tight end 3 for Michigan. I'm interested to see about A.J. Barner. I think it's kind of interesting when a guy transfers from one school where he's a starter to another school where he's not guaranteed to be a starter. I think you've got at least 4 or 5 guys this year that's the case. Josiah Stewart, I think he will be a starter, but there's no guarantee from Coastal Carolina. There's no guarantee that the linebacker from Nebraska is going to start over Junior Colston, over Michael Barrett. The 3 linemen from the Pac-12, 2 from Stanford, 2 from Arizona State, and A.J. Barner on the offensive side of the ball, Colston Loveland. But maybe they just think they're going to have better development opportunities with Michigan and their coaching staff. Guys, Michigan is going to be playing a 2023 season with a really weak out-of-conference schedule. But starting in 2024, as of now, they've got 4 straight years. It's like Texas, Oklahoma, Texas, or something like that. Texas, Oklahoma, whatever it is. 2 road games, then 2 home games. I think how it shakes out over that next year. I bet at least one of those gets canceled. I really do, because both leagues are expanding. The Big Ten in that year is going to have USC and UCLA, and then Texas and Oklahoma. I think it's at 2025 right now, but likely they'll come up with some sort of agreement that they'll probably leave in 2024, so they'll be part of that first college football playoff expanded season. Who would you want to home with for Michigan outside of those 2 teams? And Washington's on the schedule in like 2028, and then Notre Dame in like 2033 or something like that. Off the top of my head, I don't really know. Because I guess UCLA, USC, that'd be cool. California, but they're going to be in the Big Ten. I'll say this. I'll say Georgia, LSU. The place I might want to go as a fan. Texas A&M as well. Those would be my top 3. Or Alabama, even Alabama. And Michigan might lose a lot of those games if that's the case. But, it's 1 game a year. We'll see how it shakes out. But let me know who you guys think. I see a Tennessee in the live chat as well. Cody Mumford, he's got a live super chat. Cody, we'll get to that question in just a second as we go through this depth chat. But want to make sure we saw that. We'll get to you. If you're watching on demand and we put this out on Sunday, you'll be like, what is this going on? We're doing this segment on our live show from Wednesday. Wide receiver, Cornelius Johnson and Roman Wilson coming back. Those are probably the go-to guys. Although Roman Wilson played a lot of, he didn't really play that many snaps this year, all things considered. I think there's about like 9 games out of 14 that Angel Anthony played more snaps than Roman Wilson, which is kind of surprising when you think about how things shake out. But Cornelius Johnson, Roman Wilson returning, big-time players. They'll be like 3-year starters by next year. And then Darius Clemens, keep an eye out for him. Kid out of Oregon, high-level, top 100-level recruit last year for Michigan. You saw, the backups there. We've got Carmelo English, Christian Dixon. He hasn't really made an impact in a few years at Michigan. And then Tyler Morris going into his second year, and A.J. Henning will be going to, I think, his fourth year, right, next year. So we'll see how that shakes out. Wide receiver is definitely an area where Michigan should improve big time with the emergence of J.J. McCarthy being more comfortable in his second year starting as Michigan's quarterback. Have you guys subscribed to the channel yet? It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports, youtube.com/Michigan TV. If you subscribe, thank you. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. We do these shows because of the engagement and the interaction. If you haven't subscribed, hit that button right below the video that says subscribe. And either way, if you have or you haven't, send a link to your friends and your group chats. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you can. It really helps out. The best recommendation is ones that come from a friend. Please recommend the show if you found value and you enjoy what we do here. Let's go over to the offensive line. Woo! Michigan is stacked with depth at the offensive line. They really are. You've got, let me just count the guys. Henderson, Hinton, Keegan, Alhadi, so that's 4. Nugent, 5. Zinter, yes, 6. Barnhart. So you got 8 guys here that this past season, whether for Arizona State, Michigan, or Stanford, started 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 games this year. A bunch of starters. Huge level amount of starters there. You got 8 guys there. I've got Henderson coming over from, Ladarius Henderson coming over from Arizona State. He's got like 30-some-odd starts under his belt. Miles Hinton, but he's going to move from guard out to tackle, I believe. That's the biggest need. That's what Michigan sold him on. Miles Hinton, he'll be around. He'll probably be the starter in 2024, Hinton will. He's got 2 years of eligibility, even though he will be a 4th-year player. Trevor Keegan, starter at guard. Giovanni Alhadi, I think it's kind of backfilling that Alhadi will be a starter in 2024. Drake Nugent from Stanford, their starting center. Greg Crippen from Michigan, he'll be his 3rd year next year, will be his backup. Zach Zinter, and then Carson Barnhart started a bunch of different places last year. He's going to beat out Trente Jones. Jones was the opening day starter at right tackle in 2022, but injuries and poor play kind of lost him his position. I've got him as a backup going into 2023. I want to ask you guys this question. How excited are you about the future of Michigan football? Give me a number on a scale of 1 through 10. I got an 8.5. If we're talking 2023, next season, it's a 10, baby. It is a 10. It is awesome. Michigan is loaded, and they are deep, and they've got everybody coming back. That all the recipe for a national title run, just like they did this year in a lot of ways. Although I think even better. After that, you're going to lose like 16 starters potentially after the 2023 season. Could lose your quarterback. Could lose both running backs. Could lose all your impact receivers. And that's kind of, you could lose like 5 or 6 of those offensive linemen we just showed you. So I'm going to put an 8.5, 6 after 2023, 10 going into 2023. Let me know what you guys are on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's take a look back at Michigan's offensive depth chart. Quarterback, we got J.J. McCarthy, Davis Warren, and Jack Tuttle. We've got it as your quarterbacks going in there. Running backs, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, and Max Bredesen. I'm sorry, not Max, looking at the wrong tight ends. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, and C.J. Stokes, apologies, at running back. Should be the best running back room, maybe the best position room in all of college football. Colston Loveland, I think he's the next Jake Butt. I think he's an all-conference player in 2023. He's an All-American player in 2024 and maybe 2025 if he sticks around for 4 years. A.J. Barner started at tight end for Indiana, decides to transfer over. I think they could be like a 1A, 1B combo. Max Bredesen, more of a blocker, more of an H-back, gets some snaps in there as fullback as well. Cornelius Johnson and Roman Wilson, returning starters. Darius Clemens, a guy to keep an eye out for. Top 4-star recruit, wide receiver recruit. Michigan beat out for a bunch of programs out of Portland, Oregon in the 2022 class. Christian Dixon, Carmelo English, the true freshman there. And then over on the slot, you've got A.J. Henning, who's kind of still struggling to find his role. A lot of sweeps, reverses, but not much in the passing game. Punt returner. And then Tyler Morris, J.J. McCarthy's high school teammate, has a chance to make an impact. I mean, hell, by things shake out next season, I think Tyler Morris potentially could be a starter as well. But as of now, I've got those 3 guys, Johnson, Clemens, and Wilson as my stars. And then offensive line, 8 guys who've started multiple games, and 5 of them started like 10 games this past year. 3 starters from Pac-12 schools. So I've got Ladarius Henderson coming over from Arizona State. Miles Hinton backing him up. Trevor Keegan with Giovanni Alhadi. Drake Nugent from Stanford, their starter, with Greg Crippen going into his 3rd year as the backup center. Zach Zinter, All-American should be next year, potentially a first-round draft pick a year from now. And then Carson Barnhart, backed up by Trente Jones, who is Michigan's starter at right tackle going into the 2022 season. Injuries and poor play kind of lost him his role there. Guys, I am on Twitter. It is at James Yoder. I tweet at least every single day on Michigan football, and I honestly, I've been voted the funniest guy on Twitter making fun of Ohio State. I come up with some good jokes. Voting committee, my mom. Nevertheless, a vote's a vote. If the vote goes in, we've got to count it. That's what we've learned over the past 4 or 5 years. So make sure you follow me. It is at James Yoder on Twitter. Link is down in the comments and the description of today's video. All right, let's recap what we talked about today. Matt Weiss, criminal probe. Whew. What's going on there? That was a shocker. Jim Harbaugh's future, what's going on with him and Warde Manuel. Also talk about Donovan Edwards' surgery. Position change at cornerback. We'll see kind of how that shakes out. And we took your questions for about 15 minutes and then just went over the 2023 Michigan football early depth chart, my early depth chart. And I'm sure a bunch that will change by the time spring practice and the season comes around. But just that's kind of how I see things shaking out with a bunch of transfers and then a bunch of guys returning for this offense. How about this, guys? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Big time weekend coming up in the NFL. I'm excited about it. I think the NFC is wide open. You could actually say the Dallas Cowboys may have the best quarterback in the NFC right now, which is wild to say, right? Daniel Jones with the Giants facing off against Jalen Hurts. He's been injured, etc. Dak looked great on Monday night going up against my Manscaped little pouch there I've got. Going up against Brock Purdy, 49ers, third-string quarterback. Brian Griese, though, Michigan legend, is their quarterback's coach. Over on the AFC side, whew! Talk about guys, if 3 of the 4 guys in the AFC, the quarterbacks, aren't in every Final Four of the AFC, going like every year to say, okay, 2027, 2029. Like the last next 8 years, I would say 3 of the guys in this year's Final Four in the AFC should be in the Final Four going forward for that. I mean, you've got Trevor Lawrence, you've got Joe Burrow, you've got Josh Allen, you've got Patrick Mahomes. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? My gut tells me it's going to be the 49ers versus the Chiefs again. We saw that 2-3 years ago. My heart says it'll be the Cowboys versus, who do you want to root for? The Chiefs, I guess? Chiefs? Yeah. Cowboys, Chiefs, good for business. We got a Chiefs show here at the Michigan Football Report. I'm sorry, at Chat Sports, I say. So, heart says Cowboys, Chiefs. Gut says it'll be the 49ers, Chiefs. Let me know who you guys think. Let's take a couple of these. One, Hit the Gritty from Joe Cardinal. All right, cool. Gronk Jr., I think we were talking about Becky and Chad a few minutes ago. We're talking about Colston Loveland. Let's see. Chiefs the best. Cowboys, my Cowboys, and Becky and Chad. Becky and Chad, I don't know if you guys do, but I'm going to get you the link really quick. Do you know Chat Sports has the most watched and most listened to, most consumed Cowboys show on any platform? Cowboys Report with Tom Downey. Link is there. 150,000 YouTube subscribers. They had 330,000 people watch their watch party and postgame show on Monday night with the Bucks. So Becky, if you guys love the Cowboys, Tom, my coworker, puts on an awesome show. They put out daily content and do live shows like this 2, sometimes 3 times per week. Chiefs the best. So Joe Cardinal, let's see if I can get that link for you too. Joe, I'm gonna do a little internal plugging of the company. We got a Chiefs show with Harrison Graham, which I guess I don't have the link. Jack, you find that link for me really quick. I think it's youtube.com/ChiefsTV, but it just didn't populate for me right away. Producer Jack, a.k.a. Young Harbaugh, is going to put the link to Joe Cardinal. He says that, let's see, somebody said, Joe Cardinal, Chiefs the best. If you're a Chiefs fan, we've got a daily Chiefs show that also does multiple live shows per week. Producer Jack is going to toss that in the live chat as soon as he does. You find it there, Jack? You want me to pull it up? All right, should we /Chiefs TV? There you go. Producer Jack has got that bad boy for you. He just lit up that comment section. So the Chiefs fans, Cowboys fans, hell, 49ers fans too. I'm going to just give a plug there too. I got that one, Jack. I know I got that one there. If you're a 49ers fan, I thought San Francisco baby there. We have a daily 49ers show as well at Chat Sports, so I just put the link in the live chat. Let me know who's going to win the Super Bowl. I'm just going to say either way. I'm going to say the 49ers are going to win it. That's what the gut tells me. Heart, I'm saying the Dallas Cowboys. Cody Momfer. So we got to add another we're going to add a sticker in, Cody. And since it's not during the season and we didn't put one of the super chat menus, we didn't expect a super chat palooza like we went. Jack, while I'm putting this down there, why don't you guys tell the people, some of those popping the mic.
Okay, I'm here. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.
Back, right?
James is back.
Okay, cool. I think I pulled my cord.
What did you want me to pull
So
up?
with the numbers you sent me earlier about the different shows in December, the super chat numbers. Tell people which ones did the best. So
Okay,
put Cody on there.
and we're gonna have even more fun. Hello.
Oh, you built it. Oh,
Right here.
Oh, there.
All right,
Oh, Jack's coming on. All right.
I'm here.
Nice.
I'm the captain now. Okay, we had a very, very good December for the Michigan Football Report. December 4th, $375, which was great.
Super chat.
December 15th, there's Cody's sticker.
Cody
Let's
Mountain,
ride.
You going on there? Yep.
Oh, and I'm also wearing my Natty shirt as well.
Look at that, Jack. Jack, that's not a shirt in the past. We bought that for this season.
Yeah, it's
That's
this
looking
season.
forward. That's
It says
2023.
you can't see the LA. It's not there because it really says Houston. It really says Houston.
Yep,
So
no doubt.
okay, December 15th, $334. Thank you guys. December 21st. What happened on that day?
Signing day.
Signing day. My gosh, James, get a load of this.
Yeah.
$574.
Yeah.
And I think John Blaze was the man.
He was the man. Yeah, for sure.
That day. And then, of course, we had December 8th, December 28th, December 31st. We had a lot of really generous people send in some super chats. It was a hell of a season, man.
Really appreciate it.
It's
You
a hell
guys
of a
with us
season.
there. I'm going to put this bad boy on for a little bit and go from there. All right, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. 25,670 you guys have. If you I'll give one more plug as we're kind of wrap up here at the end of the show. Appreciate everyone who watched with us. It's not our normal day of going live. There's not really much to talk about, but we want to still do content. We said we go live until signing day in February. The Don shirt, if you want one, I think it's pretty cool. And if we sell enough of these, I'll actually I'll try and get a hold of Donovan Edwards, see if he wants, a piece of the pie, right, to kind of push these out there. But as of now, we didn't make any money off them. We sold 100, and now sold another 50, and go from there. Let's end the show today. Type Go Blue. If anybody wants to get their question on the show, I'll do a 60-second timer. If anyone wants a super chat, $2 or more, I'll do a 60-second timer. We'll take the question. If not, Jack and I will sign off. It's 5:52 here in Dallas, 6:52 Eastern. So you see 54 seconds. I got notifications coming on. I got, James, do you know this person on LinkedIn? Okay, sometimes thing. So we're at 47 seconds for the Michigan Football Report. I'll give some shout-outs here. So if you don't want to super chat, give me a me in the comments, or let me know what you guys think. I'll give some shout-outs here. If anyone wants a shout-out, I will give you one. Just type me or super chat. I'm going to scroll back up to Becky and Shag. Go Blue. Appreciate you guys. Peoples Jones down the sideline from Courtney Come On Son Harper from a little bit ago. From Shea Patterson. Whew, what a pass against Michigan State. Back-to-back years, 2018 and 2019. Don't forget the sisters Go Blue. I'm missing some of this. I thought that was just for men. I don't know. Is he talking about Manscaped? No, that's just for men. Do we have that photo still? Probably not. All right. The clock time went off. There was no super chats that came in, so we're going to wrap things up today. Guys, appreciate it. You spent 103 minutes with us here at the Michigan Football Report. I appreciate the time you spent. Appreciate all the questions. And we will put all the segments, the Matt Weiss, the Harbaugh news, Donovan Edwards, etc., everything you saw today on the live show will go up on the channel between tonight and on Sunday. I'll put out an original show again on Friday with the latest news and rumors on Michigan football. Until then, Go Blue.